Chapter 545. No matter if he snatched parking spaces or overtook other cars, the other cars would always give way. Moreover, his identity had made him develop a domineering nature. In the end, boom, a loud sound was heard. The Land Rover directly crashed into Xiao Chen's Jetta. However, the crash and death that Tian Wangchuan and Su Chuxia had imagined did not happen. Xiao Chen's car was fine. It only shook slightly from side to side. However, the Land Rover's front was dented. The entire engine compartment was deformed. It was basically ruined. Xiao Chen continued to reverse and then got into position. In the end, there were only slight scratches on the paint on the Jetta. Looking at the ruined Land Rover, Xiao Chen couldn't help but feel amused. His car was modified by the Supernatural Investigation Bureau at a great cost. It looked like a Jetta, but in fact it was not a Jetta at all. Basically, it was similar to an armored car. The driver of the Land Rover got out of the car. He was a little dumbfounded. What is this situation? How come my car is in such a state, but the other party is fine? This is impossible, right? However, when he carefully looked at Xiao Chen's car, there wasn't even a dent. He was finally a little angry. What kind of car is this? How is this possible? How did you damage my car like this? Kid, come over here. Don't waste time. Hurry up and give me the money. Xiao Chen extended his hand to the driver of the Land Rover and said directly. Although the driver of the Land Rover didn't look like a good person with a shaved head, tattoos, and 2 underlings and a mistress in the car, Xiao Chen didn't care at all. Give me the money? Kid, you damaged my car and you still want me to give you the money? Let me tell you, I just spent more than 3 million on this Land Rover a few days ago. I'm selling it to you now. The bald man snorted coldly and looked at Xiao Chen coldly. His 2 underlings also got out of the car and surrounded Xiao Chen. They looked like they were going to start a fight if the negotiation didn't work out. Sell it to me? I won't buy it since it's like this. You should sell it to the scrap metal collector. Xiao Chen said impatiently, hurry up and give me the money. Otherwise I won't be polite. Huh. You're pretty cool, kid. Do you know who I am? The bald man looked at Xiao Chen with some surprise. He didn't know where this kid got his confidence from. He even dared to ask for money in front of them. So what if he bumped into him? In the past, every time there was a car crash, he was the one asking for money from others. Did you hit your head on the head? How dare you ask me who you are? How would I know who you are? Xiao Chen curled his lips. Xiao Chang, forget it. Isn't our car fine? Let's go, don't waste time. Su Chuxia saw that Xiao Chen was about to get into a fight again and quickly tried to stop him. She was not afraid that Xiao Chen would be at a disadvantage. She was afraid that the big man would be beaten to death by Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen dared to kick someone from the top of a building, and he dared to throw someone off a moving bus. He did it in a way that completely disregarded the consequences. Something really happened here. Would she still want to go up the mountain? Oh, if that's the case, then forget it. I'll let you go. Xiao Chen looked at the bald man with some mockery. You're driving a Land Rover and yet you're so poor. Did you borrow a car? Wait, kid, don't go. Seeing that Xiao Chen wanted to leave, how could the big man agree? He didn't even have a car. Although he was the one who crashed it, he still had to find someone to blame, right? Scram to the side. I'm giving you face, but you don't want it. I don't want to waste time with you. You're so troublesome. With a kick, Xiao Chen sent the bald man flying. He landed in the bushes dozens of meters away. The 2 underlings were dumbfounded. The mistress in the Land Rover also screamed. Is he still human? He's a martial arts master. He sent someone dozens of meters away with one kick? Big brother. The 2 underlings quickly went to the bushes to look for the bald man. They did not dare to talk to Xiao Chen. On Xiao Chen's side, he directly brought Tian Suruan and Su Chuxia up the mountain. In the end, they still fought. Su Chuxia sighed. This guy was much more ferocious than Xiao Meng. Xiao Meng was always enduring, but this Xiao Chang was good. He never tolerated. There was still a long way to go from here to Tianqing Monastery. Although it seemed very close from the foot of the mountain, it was actually extremely difficult to walk. Su Chuxia had walked before, so she knew how difficult it was. She gritted her teeth and persevered. However, Tian Suruan could not take it anymore. She hadn't even walked halfway when she started screaming. Why isn't there a cable car or something? Chuxia, what kind of crappy place did you find? It's not fun at all. I can't take it anymore. 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 Even though Tian Sour was usually lively and active and she often went to the gym, she only stopped to rest. She really couldn't take it anymore when she had to climb the stairs with real weapons. Suruan, grit your teeth and go up in one go. Look at the others. That fat guy who looks like a fish over there, isn't he climbing up bit by bit? Su Chuxia pointed not far away. A chubby otaku was gritting his teeth and walking up. He was holding a phone in his hand and typing as he walked. F***CK, is this person a web novelist? He's typing while walking. He's really professional. Tian Suruin glanced at him and said dejectedly, Sister Suruin really can't take it anymore. Let's rest for a while. However, Su Chuxia frowned. If she were to rest, the more she rested, the more discouraged she would be. Many people directly went down the mountain after resting halfway. They did not want to go up anymore because they did not want to climb anymore once they got lazy. Suruin, I'll hold you. Su Chuxia said. Okay. Tian Suruin was held by Su Chuxia. She reluctantly continued to climb up. After a few more steps, she finally could not take it anymore. She squatted on the ground and panted heavily. Sister Suruin really can't take it anymore. I'm going to die if I keep climbing. Su Chuxia had no choice but to stop and say, then let's rest for a while. But if we get there too late, we won't be able to see Taoist Luli. We have to do this again tomorrow? No, I won't come again even if you beat me to death. Tian Suruin quickly shook her head. Xiaoqin did not mind. This was nothing to him. It was not a problem for him to run a few laps back and forth. If they wanted to rest, they could rest. Xiaoqin leaned against the stone steps and looked at the scenery. After resting for a while, Su Chuxia looked at the time and said, Suruin, it's about time. We should go. So fast? I haven't rested enough. Tian Suruin felt like she had only sat down for a few minutes. Suruin, do your best. You'll make it up. Su Chuxia encouraged her. I really can't. Tian Suruin said weakly. Xiaochang, why don't you stay here with her? I'll go up myself. Su Chuxia hesitated and said. Then I'll go up with you. Suruin can stay here by herself. Xiaoqin naturally could not leave Su Chuxia behind. Su Chuxia was the target that he wanted to protect. I'm afraid that the group of people from before will harm Suruin if they see her here. If you stay here and intercept them, I won't be in any danger if I go up. Su Chuxia voiced her thoughts. Sai, why don't we do this? Xiaochang, come over and squat down. Sister Suruin will let you take advantage of her. You can carry Sister Suruin up. Tian Suruin saw that Xiaoqian's face was not red and his heart was not beating fast, so she thought of a good idea. Meh. Xiaoqian pointed at himself and smiled bitterly. It's not easy to take advantage of me, right? I'm done. You can't rely on me. I'm here to chase after Su Chuxia. I can't. Chuxia and I are good sisters. Why would I cheat you? Tian Suruin said, I'm dying of exhaustion. I don't want to stay here alone. You can carry her. You can chase after Chuxia and you can still get intimate with Sister Suruin. It's quite satisfying. Xiaoqin looked at Su Chuxia to see what she had to say. After all, she knew that he was protecting her. Xiaochang, you carry her. Suruin, behave yourself. Don't move around. After Su Chuxia finished speaking, she looked at Xiaoqian and said, behave yourself too. Don't try to take advantage of her. Xiaoqian squatted down and Tian Suruin laid limply on his body. She did not move at all. Clearly she was too tired. Resting for a while was completely useless. Tian Suruin's body was very light. When Xiaoqian stood up, he did not feel much weight at all. However, when Xiaoqian's hand touched the black stockings under her miniskirt, he did not know why, but he thought of the scene he saw through the binoculars last night. It made Xiaoqian's imagination run wild. Xiaoqian gritted his teeth and threw these messy thoughts to the back of his mind. Then he said, let's go up the mountain. Su Chuxia looked at Xiaoqian and Tian Suruin, then walked up the mountain. What Xiaoqian did not expect was that Su Chuxia's endurance was so amazing. She walked up the mountain in one breath. It was hard to imagine that this girl had such great perseverance. Tian Suruin lay on Xiaoqian's body and did not move at all. Although her chest was pressed against Xiaoqian's back, if she did not move, it was difficult for Xiaoqian to feel anything. Of course, Xiaoqian did not deliberately think of any dirty things. They arrived at the entrance of Tianqing Temple. Xiaoqian said, Suruin, we're here. However, there was no movement behind him. Xiaoqian looked back and realized that Tian Suruin had fallen asleep on his shoulder. This made Xiaoqian a little dumbfounded. He quickly reached out and pushed her. Hey, Suruin? Su Chuxia was also a little surprised. She did not expect Tian Suruin to fall asleep. This wretched girl. Suruin, wake up, it's time for a feast. A feast? Where is it? Tian Suruin opened her eyes immediately and looked around in confusion. The feast is in your dreams. Su Chuxia said angrily. We're already here and you actually fell asleep. Hurry up and get up. Ah, we're here. Tian Suruan jumped down from Xiao Chen's body. However, she did not tell Xiao Chen beforehand. Xiao Chen was still holding onto her legs. As she jumped down, Xiao Chen's hands accidentally poked under Tian Suruan's skirt. Chapter 546. Ah! Tian Sour screamed. She felt as if she had been poked by something. It was so painful that tears almost flowed down her face. It hurts. It hurts so much. It hurts so much, Sister Sour. Ah! Xiao Chen was instantly very embarrassed. He did not expect such an accident to happen. He also felt as if he had poked something wrong. He immediately let go of his hands and Tian Sour immediately squatted on the ground. From the corner of his eye, he saw that there was blood on the tip of his finger. Xiao Chen was shocked. Why was there blood? Su Chusha's eyes were sharp. She suddenly saw Xiao Chen's bloody finger. Her expression suddenly changed and she looked at Tian Sour. Sour, you're hurt? Hurt? Tian Sour felt as if she had been poked by Xiao Chen, but she did not think too much about it. After hearing Su Chusha's words, she subconsciously raised her head and saw Xiao Chen's bloody finger. Tian Sour's expression suddenly changed. She thought of something and immediately reached under her skirt to touch it. What she saw was a smear of red. Hence, Tian Sour was dumbfounded. She stared blankly at the blood on her hand, not knowing what to do. Su Chusha was also scared out of her wits. Sour, what happened to you? I think I've been poked. Tian Sour's expression was very ugly. She spoke with a sobbing tone. Xiao Chang seems to have poked in, ah? Su Chusha was slightly stunned, but she immediately understood what Tian Sour meant. Her expression also became very ugly. It couldn't be. How could something like this happen? Although in many cases some girls who liked to exercise might tear it, it was a different concept from being poked by someone's hand. However, Su Chusha could not blame Xiao Chen for this. She frowned and did not know what to say. Xiao Chen was also a little dumbfounded. From Tian Sour's words and the current situation, he seemed to have done something irreparable. It was an inexplicable accident and he was even implicated. However, at this time Xiao Chen really didn't know what to say. This matter couldn't be blamed on him, but if he said that he wasn't responsible, then he would be evading responsibility. He wasn't that kind of person. Otherwise he wouldn't have accepted Lu Shuangshuang. Therefore at this time Xiao Chen could only stay silent and look at Tian Saorong awkwardly. Chusha, help me to the washroom. Tian Suruan quickly said to Su Chusha when he saw that there was a washroom not far away. Okay. Su Chusha quickly helped Tian Suruan up and limped to the washroom nearby. As Xiao Chen watched the two of them disappear, he couldn't help but sigh. Accidents always appeared suddenly, but they couldn't be avoided. Tian Suruan entered the washroom and hurriedly entered the cubicle. Su Chusha anxiously walked around outside. She wanted to follow in but the cubicle was too small. After Tian Suruan squatted down, there was no space. After waiting for a while, Tian Suruan didn't move. Su Chusha quickly asked, Suruan, how is it? I'm fine. It's just a little hard to observe. Luckily, Sister Suruan put a mask on her phone. Tian Suruan said, What's the result? Su Chusha asked, How is it? Xiao Chang really? No, I'm on my period. Tian Saoring chuckled and became happy all of a sudden. Gosh, you scared me to death. Su Chusha slapped her forehead and was a little speechless. Then you're fine? But it still hurts after being poked by him. So, Sister Suruan decided not to let him go so easily. Tian Suruan said, When we go out later, let's tell him that I was exposed by him. Then let him compensate me. Su Chusha was stunned and immediately said, But this isn't very good, right? What's not good about it? No matter what, Sister Suruan was poked by him. Although it didn't break, it still hurts. Tian Suruan shook her head and said, Moreover, I was touched. You should know when to stop. Don't go too far. Su Chusha thought about it and nodded. Anyway, Xiao Chen's pursuit of her was fake. She was forced to agree to his request to protect her. Now, it was normal for her to play a little trick on him. And then you have to cooperate with me. Tian Suruan said with a smile. Okay. Su Chusha replied. How do I cooperate? Help me out. Tian Suruan said as she leaned on Su Chusha's body. The two of them walked out of the bathroom together. However, in an instant Tian Suruan became limping. There was a look of pain on her face. In fact, it was really a little painful because her stomach hurt. Su Chusha glanced at Tian Suruan beside her and smiled bitterly in her heart. She was really good at pretending. This time Xiao Chang was unlucky and had to take full responsibility. Xiao Chen was actually not at ease outside. He kept thinking about Tian Suruan inside. It wasn't a big deal that she was exposed. The most important thing was that Xiao Chen was afraid that it would cause a problem. After all, that 1-inch force might cause a lot of bleeding. That wouldn't be good. Suruan, how are you? When Xiao Chen saw them coming out, he quickly greeted them. However, when he saw Tian Suruan limping, his heart sank. Is it that serious? Xiao Chang, what do you think we should do? Sister Suruan was exposed by you. This time it's over. How can I find a boyfriend in the future? Tian Suruan limped in front of Xiao Chen and asked sternly. After Xiao Chen heard this, he also had a headache. This matter was really difficult to distinguish between right and wrong. To be honest, Tian Suruan accidentally jumped down and then she broke it herself. However, he couldn't say that. If he said that, wouldn't he be looking for trouble? Therefore, Xiao Chen could only bite the bullet and say, Suruan, what do you think we should do? Sister Suruan won't let you take responsibility. If I let you take responsibility, you will definitely not be convinced because your goal is Su Chuxia. I'm not that bad to force you to change your goal. Besides, Sister Suruan really doesn't like you. Although you have some money, you are far from Sister Suruan's expectations. When Tian Suruan said this, she paused and then continued, however, I can't just let it go. After all, you made me like this. Who knows, it might affect me finding a boyfriend in the future. And then? When Xiao Chen heard Tian Suruan's words, he thought that she was going to let it go. However, he didn't expect her words to change. It wasn't the case at all. Before Sister Suruan finds a boyfriend, you have to do it for me, Tian Suruan said. Do it for me? Xiao Chen's expression was a little strange. What do you mean? Flirting? Get lost. Tian Suruan said angrily, it means that you have to take care of me like my boyfriend. You have to grant my requests. You have to do whatever I say. Whatever I want, you have to try your best to satisfy it. Do you hear me? However, don't think that you can take advantage of me like this. No way. So, you want me to be your servant? Xiao Chen shook his head, but in his heart he thought about the young mistress. He wondered if she was doing well. Without him around, what were they eating every day? There was also Jin Bebe Yi Xiaoye, the spiritual herbs in the villa's yard, and that weird dog. What? You've already made Sister Suruan like this. Sister Suruan didn't ask you to take responsibility, but you still don't want to? Tian Suruan glared at Xiao Chen. All right. Xiao Chen nodded. Actually, it didn't matter whether he agreed or not. He was doing the same thing now. In order to pursue Su Chuxia, he had to pretend to please Tian Suruan. Then it's settled, Tian Suruan said. Now what are we going to do? I want to find Taoist Luli to ask for medicine. Why don't we go and ask for medicine first? Su Chuxia looked at the time on her watch. If she didn't hurry up, she would have wasted her trip today. I have no objections. What about you, Suruan? Xiao Chen looked at Tian Suruan. Then let's go. Tian Suruan was just about to leave when she remembered that she was pretending to be a cripple. Therefore she said, Xiao Chang, continue to carry me. I can't walk. Actually, her stomach was hurting. Her period was here and she was exhausted from climbing the mountain, so it hurt even more. Anyway, now that she had Xiao Chang as a laborer, she naturally didn't want to walk anymore. All right. Xiao Chen squatted down and Tian Suruan laid on top of him again. Su Chuxia shook her head and walked in front. The three of them arrived at the entrance of the Taoist temple. At this time there were already many people lining up. Xiao Chen didn't expect the Taoist temple to have so many people. The Heavenly Purity Temple was incomparably majestic. The high walls at the entrance pierced through the clouds. It had the charm of the celestial Taoist temples in the TV series Journey to the West. Right in front of the Heavenly Purity Temple was a large pool called the Body Purification Pool. Xiao Chen took a look. The so-called Body Purification Pool was just a place where people took out their money and threw it into a box beside the large pool to wash away the smell of money on their bodies. Therefore, the smell of money would run into the pockets of the Taoist temple. Xiao Chen didn't think much of this way of earning money. However, Su Chuxia was very sincere. She put 300 yuan into the box. It wasn't much, but it wasn't little either. Some people even put in tens of thousands. Tian Suruan looked at the money and felt a little heartache. 300 yuan. We can eat a buffet hot pot. What a pity. Su Chuxia frowned and glared at her. Why do you only know how to eat? Why don't you eat until you die? Tian Suruan looked at the 300 yuan reluctantly. Xiao Chang, I want that 300 yuan. Oh. Xiao Chen casually waved his hand and set up an illusion. The 300 yuan was in his hand, and no one noticed anything. Xiao Qin casually stuffed the 300 yuan into Tian Suruan's hand. Tian Suruan was shocked when she felt Xiao Qin touch her hand. She thought that Xiao Qin wanted to take advantage of her, but she realized that something was stuffed into her hand. Tian Suruan was stunned. She raised her hand and saw that it was 300 yuan. Chapter 547. Ah! Tian Wangshuo was stunned. She looked at the box again. The 300 yuan that Su Chuxia had just put in was gone. Although there was a lot of money in the box because Tian Wangshuo's eyes were staring, she remembered the position of the money. However, she didn't see what Xiao Qin did. In the blink of an eye, the 300 yuan was in her hands. At this time, Su Chuxia had already walked to the entrance of the Taoist temple. Before Tian Wangshuo could see clearly, she was carried away by Xiao Qin. "Xiao Chang, how did you get it back?" Tian Wangshuo reacted and asked quickly. "Shh. Don't let Chuxia hear you," Xiao Qin said. Su Chuxia was so devoted to this Taoist temple. If she knew that the money that she put in was taken out by him, wouldn't she fly into a rage? Tian Sauer also immediately realized this point and shut her mouth. However, in her heart she thought to herself, this Xiao Chang really agrees to all requests. My decision is really wise. It feels so good to have such a person at my beck and call. Sister Sauer is so smart. When they arrived at the entrance of the Taoist temple, they were stopped. Not everyone could enter the Taoist temple. There was a young Taoist priest at the entrance who was screening people to enter the Taoist temple. And his screening method was also very special. Light incense. All the tourists who wanted to enter the Taoist temple formed a long line. In front of the line was an incense burner. Next to the incense burner stood a young Taoist priest supervising the screening. Every tourist had a chance to light incense. Everyone had a match. The match was very short, only half a normal match. Everyone came up to light the incense in the incense burner. Those who lit it could enter the Taoist temple. Those who didn't light it could only leave or line up again from the back. However, there were at least 100 people in this line. Just the line alone took a while. In front of them, a bald man was lighting incense. The incense was very thick. Not to mention half a match, even 8 or 10 matches might not be able to light it. The man obviously failed to light the incense. This thing is clearly making things difficult for people. How can half a match light it? This incense is so thick. Aren't you tricking people? We donated money to the cleansing pool, but we still have to light incense. The bald man's match was about to burn his hand, but he still couldn't light it. He couldn't help but complain. Amateus Buddha, don't you see that someone has also entered the Taoist temple? The little Taoist faintly smiled and said, lighting incense is all about luck. It doesn't mean that it can't be lit. Even though the match is short, if many people light it, the residual heat on the incense won't dissipate. Naturally, it can be lit. Forget it, I'll line up again, the bald man said, a little depressed. Of course you can. Benefactor, please go to the body cleansing pool first and queue up again. After saying that, another young Taoist left with the bald man. This is really a scam? If I can't light it up, I'll have to line up again and donate money? Tian Soren said unhappily, Chuxia, did you meet a scammer? This Taoist temple looks like a place to cheat people of their money. Soren, don't talk nonsense. In fact, this is also a last resort. Otherwise, with so many people coming every day, if they could all enter the Taoist temple, it wouldn't be able to accommodate all of them, right? Su Chuxia said. Okay, but I think it's as difficult as going to heaven to light the incense. It's like a lucky draw. There are hundreds of people and there's only 1 or 2. Tian Soren said gloomily, if we can't light it up, do we have to line up again? Of course. Su Chuxia said. The long line in front of the line shortened bit by bit. Most people failed and left or tried again. However, there were 2 people who successfully lit the incense and successfully entered the Taoist temple. Every person who lit the incense could bring 2 friends with them. One of the successful people only had 1 friend, and the other spot was brought in by someone nearby. She didn't know what conditions he promised, but he was very happy. There were fewer and fewer people in front of the line. Finally, it was Su Chuxia's turn. Before this, many people had failed to light the incense. Su Chuxia roughly estimated that she really had a chance. If she was lucky, she might succeed on her first try. However, to her surprise, just as it was about to be her turn, the customer in front of her actually lit the incense successfully and successfully entered the Taoist temple with his friend. When it was Su Chuxia's turn, she actually got a new incense. If she wanted to light it, it was basically impossible. Su Chuxia suddenly felt very depressed. She took the match from the young Taoist and sighed. Let me do it. Xiao Chen knew that it was impossible for Su Chuxia to light the incense. However, she wouldn't give up, so the end result was that a few people would have to donate money and line up again. Xiao Chen naturally wouldn't waste such meaningless time, so he directly snatched the match from Su Chuxia's hand. This made Su Chuxia a little surprised, but she didn't say anything. She also wouldn't blame Xiao Chen for trying to show off, because if Xiao Chen lit the incense, the result would be the same. It would be impossible to light the incense. Therefore she let Xiao Chen do it. Xiao Chen took the match, lit it directly, and then went to light the incense. However, the flame on the match looked ordinary, but Xiao Chen used a little samadhi true fire to light it. The result was as expected. The incense was quickly lit and green smoke came out. At this time, Xiao Chen's match was almost burnt to the end, so Xiao Chen threw it away. However, this situation made the people around a little dumbfounded. The young Taoist was very puzzled. How did a match light the incense that was just changed? This was something that had never happened before. How was it possible? However, the truth was in front of him, and he had no choice but to believe it. After all, the incense really burned. The other tourists at the back were also amazed. They felt that when Xiao Chen was lighting the incense, a gust of wind blew and helped him light the incense. But no matter what, Xiao Chen was lucky and many people were envious. Su Chuxia looked at everything in front of her in shock. That was it? She was already prepared to leave and start all over again. Xiao Chang, I didn't expect you to be so powerful. Sister Sour Sour realized that you kind of meet Sister Sour Sour's criteria for choosing a partner, but you're a little too poor. You still have to work hard. Tian Sour said with a smile. 3 kind people, please come in. Although the young Taoist was puzzled, he still followed the rules and invited Xiao Chen and the other 2 into the Taoist temple. As soon as they entered the Taoist temple, the smell of nature hit them in the face, making them feel refreshed. Tian Sour was a little surprised. Chuxia, you don't say. This Taoist temple is really something. Of course. As I said, Taoist priest Lu Li's immortal water is very useful. Su Chuxia nodded. The Taoist temple was refreshing and pleasant. There was no winter chill. The wind blew on their faces and it felt like spring and autumn. The Taoist temple was decorated elegantly. The path was quiet, and there were pavilions and ancient trees. The scenery was beautiful, as if they were in a painting. They walked forward and passed through a long corridor. There was another door in front of them, and there were 2 young Taoist priests guarding the door. When they arrived here, Xiao Chen and the others were also stopped. Why is there a sentry? Xiao Chen was a little puzzled. Why was it more difficult to enter a Taoist temple than Su Chuxia's father's research institute? There was a sentry every few steps. Were they letting people in or not? There was a picture scroll at the door. On it were some crooked and irregular colored patterns. He didn't know what they were, but the young Taoist priest said, 3 kind people, tell me what you see in this picture scroll. If you're right, you can enter. What? Xiao Chen was stunned. Was this a guessing game? Did they think this was a variety show? Xiao Chen was a little depressed. Tian Wangshu looked at Su Chuxia strangely. Chuxia, was it like this when you came last time? Yes, but the test is different every year. Only this year's test seems to be especially difficult. Su Chuxia was also a little troubled. What was in this picture? She couldn't tell. Tian Wangshu didn't dare to be slow. Since they were already here, she obviously wouldn't be willing to go back. Therefore, she jumped down from Xiao Chen's body and began to carefully observe the picture. After observing for a long time, she couldn't see anything special about it. She made a random guess. I think this is an abstract painting. It was painted by Taoist priest Lu Li, right? This painting depicts Taoist priest Lu Li's inner world. That's not right. Tian Wangshu's eloquence was only met with a heartless rejection from the young Taoist priest. He shook his head expressionlessly and said, What about you guys? Time is limited. Answer as soon as possible. Su Chuxia pondered for a long time and then said carefully, I think the colorful and various colors in the painting represent the boundless world. Actually, Su Chuxia had no other choice. Tian Wangshu's word world reminded her, so Su Chuxia had an idea. However, she felt that what she said was somewhat reliable. No. The young Taoist priest shook his head and denied Su Chuxia's words. Su Chuxia's face turned pale and she sighed. Where is this kind person? The young Taoist priest looked at Xiao Chen and said, It's time. Although Xiao Chen was a cultivator, this thing had nothing to do with cultivators. It was not something that could be solved with special abilities. How would Xiao Chen know what this painting was? He knew nothing about painting, so he couldn't be bothered to talk nonsense at this moment. He just braced himself and said, Forgive me for being blunt, but I can't see anything. This is just a messy, colorful graffiti. Yes, this kind person is an honest person. Please enter. The young Taoist priest nodded and then made a gesture to invite him in. Ha! Tian Wangshuo stared at Xiao Qin strangely. This was right again? How could this work? There's nothing at all. Why are you making us guess? Even if Su Chuxiao was qualified to enter, she was still a little dissatisfied. This kind woman, the first threshold of heavenly purity temple is to purify the body and remove the stink of money from the body. The second threshold is to purify the heart. Only honest people can enter. The little Taoist explained, what this kind person said is right. There's nothing in this painting. It's just a random drawing. To be honest, we can't see anything. If we insist on spouting nonsense just to enter the door, then we're just lying. Chapter 548. Su Chuxiao was speechless, and so was Tian Suruan. Xiao Qin opened his mouth but didn't say anything. This was simply amazing. All right, the three of you may enter, said the little Taoist. Su Chuxiao didn't continue to struggle. After all, she had to seize the time to meet Taoist Lu Li and ask him for medicine. Sister Suruan, why do I feel like I'm in a TV challenge program? Tian Suruan looked around the temple curiously. You're jumping around. Are you all right? Xiao Qin looked at Tian Suruan, who was wandering around, and asked in surprise. It hurts again. Tian Suruan suddenly staggered. All right, Suruan. Stop pretending. It doesn't hurt that much. It's fine. Su Chuxiao said, let's hurry up and pass the challenge. There's still one more challenge ahead, and it's the most difficult one. Tian Suruan didn't dare to delay. She immediately straightened her body and walked forward quickly. Xiao Qin looked at Tian Suruan strangely. She's done? I don't need to carry her anymore? However, thinking about it, he also carried her for a while. It was normal that she was fine now. After all, it didn't seem that serious. At most, he poked her on the outside and tore it a little. There was another door in front, and there were still a few young Taoists standing guard. Xiao Qin was already used to it this time. He glanced at the young Taoist, then said, what's the test this time? He, kind people, it's not easy for all of you to come all the way here. This time, it's to verify your fate with my clear sky monastery. The little Taoist smiled faintly and said, three kind people, please follow me. Xiao Qin nodded and didn't say much. He followed the little Taoist with Su Chuxia and Tian Suruan to a small pavilion at the side. On the other side of the pavilion, there was an exhibition wall. It was like the publicity corridor in the school, protected by a glass cover. When they got closer, there were some charms inside. Three kind people, please take a look. There are real and fake amulets in these amulets. The three of you just need to find 2 real amulets and you can pass. The little Taoist said, then I can bring you to see my master, spiritual master Lu Li. How should I look at this? We don't understand. Tian Soran looked at the scribbled talismans in front of him and immediately felt a headache coming on. He didn't understand these things, nor had he studied them before. Of course, even those who had studied them might not know. This was because there were several talismans with the same pattern, and they looked almost the same on the outside. It was difficult to tell if they were real or fake. This talisman, what is real and what is fake? Su Chuxiao was also confused. From her point of view, the things inside were pretty much the same. There was no difference. If it's real, then it naturally has the effect of magic power. If it's fake, then it naturally doesn't. The little Taoist explained, only the little Taoist's advisor can draw talismans. The others are all our imitation works. It's just that they don't have any effect. What's the use of this talisman? Tian Wangshuan was a little puzzled. These pieces of paper actually had the effect of magic power? Was it real or fake? This talisman is a soul-cleansing talisman. When you use it when you're drowsy, it can instantly make you full of energy. However, the time it can be used is limited. It can only be used for a quarter of an hour, the little Taoist explained. Is it real or fake? What about this? Tian Wangshuan pointed at another talisman and asked. This talisman is a fire ignition talisman. After using it, it can achieve the effect of igniting a fire, the little Taoist explained. I'm going to faint. Sister Soren thought it was some high-end item. I can use coffee to replace the first talisman. For the second talisman, I can use a lighter. I can even use it multiple times. Good woman, you might not know this, but coffee is a liquid and can't be brought on the plane. A lighter is a dangerous item and can't be brought on the plane either. However, these 2 talismans can be used. The little Taoist said, you said that it's useless. Actually, it's very useful in certain situations, isn't it? That's true. Tian Wangshuan nodded after listening. All right, good woman, since you know the use of these talismans, then quickly identify them, the little Taoist reminded. This. Su Chuxia was a little hesitant. She didn't dare to simply identify it. Tian Wangchuan pointed at a talisman and said, "This is real, right?" "I'm sorry, good woman. This is fake. You only have 2 more chances," the little Taoist said. "Hey, I didn't ask you. I was really talking to Xiao Chong. I was asking my companion. How can you say that I'm wasting a chance?" Tian Wangchuan immediately said when he saw that he had admitted his mistake. "Of course it's a chance." The little Taoist didn't explain much. He just smiled and didn't give any room for negotiation. "All right, let me take a look." Xiao Qin waved his hand and signaled Su Chuxia and Tian Wangchuan not to say anything. He wanted to let him make the decision. Although Su Chuxia didn't know where Xiao Qin got his confidence from, Xiao Qin had passed the previous few rounds. Therefore, since Xiao Qin wanted to try this round, she naturally let him do it. "Elder Heaven Ancestor, didn't you say that cultivators can create talismans? Is it similar to this?" Xiao Qin asked in his heart. "That's definitely different," the Elder Heaven Ancestor said. "Huh?" Xiao Qin was stunned. "I thought you could identify them. These are all trash. What's there to identify? In my opinion, they're all trash." The Elder Heaven Ancestor said disdainfully, "What kind of trash is this? You want to stay awake for 15 minutes and light a fire? What's the point of creating these things? Are you crazy? There are so many substitutes. Why do you still need to create talismans?" You mean you know these talismans?" Xiao Qin was shocked and then heaved a sigh of relief. "Yes, the first row and the third one are real. The second row and the fifth one are real. I can't be bothered to look at the rest," the Elder Heaven Ancestor said directly. "Then I'll choose 2 randomly." As Xiao Qin said this, he raised his hand and tapped the 2 talismans that the Elder Heaven Ancestor mentioned twice. Huh. The young Taoist was very surprised. This year, because Taoist Lu Li was gathering investments everywhere, he rarely stayed in the temple. Therefore, in order to keep most people outside, he set up these very difficult tests. It was still possible to pass the first and second tests, but it was very rare to pass the third test. After all, it was difficult for laymen to identify these talismans. It was possible to guess correctly for 1, but it was impossible to guess correctly for 2. Xiao Qin looked at the stunned young Taoist and gently coughed twice to remind him, "This Taoist. Am I right?" "You're right." The young Taoist came back to his senses and nodded. "This poor Taoist Dharma name is Mo Ri. 3 kind people, please follow me to meet my master Taoist Lu Li." "Doomsday? Your Dharma name is really unique," Xiao Qin said in surprise. "Taoist 2012, how many people can see Taoist Lu Li?" "This poor Taoist's name is Mo Ri, not 2012? The young Taoist was a little puzzled. "This month you're the first to see Taoist Lu Li? Oh, isn't the Doomsday 2012? Xiao Qin laughed dryly. "I just said it casually, sorry." "All right, 3 kind people please." The young Taoist made an inviting gesture. "The Dharma name is just a title. Kind people can call themselves whatever they want, there's no need to be restricted." The 3 of them entered the last door. It was a very spacious courtyard, and there was a very grand hall in front of them. Under the guidance of the young Taoist, the 3 of them entered the hall. As they walked to the back, they saw an old man with white hair and a youthful face already sitting there waiting. Presumably he was Taoist Lu Li. "This Taoist Lu Li has a sage-like demeanor," Tian Wangshou said when he saw the old Taoist in front of him. "Oh, Wangshou, he's not Taoist Lu Li," Su Chuxia quickly said. "Amit Ba." However, the old Taoist said loudly, "This poor Taoist is not Taoist Lu Li. This poor Taoist is Taoist Lu Li's disciple, Emoji." Tian Wangshou almost burst out laughing. "He's called Doomsday and you're called Emoji. This name of yours is really awesome. The master who can come up with this name is not an ordinary person. How many brain cells must have been wasted to come up with this? Wangshou, don't talk nonsense." Su Chuxia glared at Tian Wangshou. "It's okay." The old Taoist smiled like the young Taoist. "It's just a title. 3 kind people, please come this way." Under the guidance of Taoist Emoji, the 3 of them walked into a small room at the side. Inside, on a cattail hassock, sat a person who looked like he was only in his 20s. "3 kind people, this is my master Taoist Lu Li," Taoist Emoji said. Xiao Qin and Tian Wangshou were stunned. Wasn't this a little too young? This person looked like he was only in his 20s. How was he Taoist Lu Li? Or was he the old Taoist's master? However, Su Chuxia had obviously seen Taoist Lu Li before, so there was nothing strange about it this time. She just walked forward and said respectfully, Taoist Luli, I remember you. You came here last year for the immortal water, right? To treat your grandmother's rheumatism. Taoist Luli opened his eyes and looked at Su Chuxiao. Yes, Taoist Luli. Su Chuxiao was a little happy. She did not expect Taoist Luli to recognize her immediately and remember her. This surprised her. Okay, emoji, go and get the immortal water, Taoist Luli instructed the old Taoist. Yes, master. The old Taoist turned and left. Soon he returned with a small bottle in his hand, which he handed to Taoist Luli. Taoist Luli nodded, then made a few hand seals in front of the bottle. Finally he handed it to Su Chuxia and said, It's done. When you go back, just rub it on the affected area. Thank you, Taoist Luli. Su Chuxia quickly thanked him in surprise. Well, the other two kind people, why did you come to see me? Taoist Luli smiled at Xiao Chen and Tian Wangshuo. Is there any immortal water that can make Sister Wangshuo more beautiful, sexier, and more charming? Tian Wangshuo asked. Chapter 549. You're already very beautiful, sexy, and charming. You don't need the immortal water. Taoist Luli smiled. Spiritual Master Luli, can you give me some paper and cinnabar for drawing talismans? Xiao Chen asked. This was what the Elder Heaven Ancestor had told him before. He asked him to bring some back to experiment with talisman making. Although talisman making should be something that could only be done after one reached the Foundation Establishment realm, it did not include these simple talismans. Therefore he planned to let Xiao Chen go back and practice first. Oh. Spiritual Master Luli looked at Xiao Chen with some confusion. What do you want this for? Oh, the house I live in is haunted. I followed the instructions of the online professor and drew a few talismans to ward off evil spirits, Xiao Chen said casually. Of course you can, but most of the talismans on the internet are useless, Taoist Luli said. Of course if you insist, I can give you emoji. Yes, master. Emoji nodded and turned to get these things. Soon he returned with some paper for drawing talismans and some cinnabar. He handed them to Xiao Chen and said, Good person, here they are. Thank you. Xiao Chen put these things away. Tian Wangshuo did not know what she wanted. After thinking about it, she said, That immortal water, give me another portion. She did not need these things herself, so she might as well help Su Chuxia get another portion. That way Su Chuxia would not have to come back for more after using it. Do you want to keep it for next year? Taoist Luli asked. Yes. Tian Wangshuo nodded. It's too difficult to get in here. If it weren't for our luck, we wouldn't have been able to get in at all. Therefore, since we can come this time, we'll get it for next year as well. That's a little difficult. This immortal water can only be kept for half a year. Taoist Luli said, However, I can seal it with wax. After you go back, you can put it in the freezer. It can be used for a year, but I can't guarantee it. That's fine. Tian Wangshuo nodded. Thank you very much. Taoist Luli nodded and asked Emoji to prepare it. After Emoji was done, Taoist Luli also imprinted his handprint on it. Then he asked someone to seal it with wax and gave it to Tian Souring. Elder Heaven Ancestor, what is that handprint? Xiao Chen asked. Why is it so strange? Hand seals are also a type of magic. The Elder Heaven Ancestor said. But it's a bit complicated. It involves some spell formations which I don't really understand. But I can understand the simple stuff. Oh? It turns out to be an array formation. Then what does the handprint of Taoist Luli mean? Xiao Chen nodded and asked. That handprint is actually a kind of handprint that maximizes the effect of the bottle of medicinal liquid. The Elder Heaven Ancestor said, that immortal water is actually a bottle of medicine for bruises. It is effective for bruises and rheumatism. But normally, because this kind of medicine is applied externally, the effect is not very obvious. After all, it needs to penetrate the skin. But his handprint can maximize the activation of the medicinal liquid. Then, it can be applied to the body to exert a better effect. There's nothing magical about it. The words of the Elder Heaven Ancestor surprised Xiao Chen. He was not shocked that Taoist Luli used the bruises and injuries medicine to imitate the immortal water, but, is this Taoist Luli also a cultivator? Otherwise, how could he have these things? He drew talismans and made handprints. Elder Heaven Ancestor, is this Taoist Luli a cultivator? Xiao Chen was a little surprised. You can say yes, but you can also say no. The Elder Heaven Ancestor said, Taoist cultivation is actually cultivation. It's just that in recent years, it has declined. I haven't heard of any Taoist school that has truly succeeded in cultivation. However, the remnants of them can't be underestimated. After all, the foundation is there. It's just that many people don't know how to cultivate. After all, there are only mental cultivation methods without guidance. It's very likely that blindly cultivating them will cause problems. The Elder Heaven Ancestor said, for example, some mental cultivation methods are obviously very powerful, but when cultivated by people who don't understand them, they become trash. There are also some mental cultivation methods that are obviously awe-inspiring, but people cultivate them into evil mental cultivation methods. There are also mental cultivation methods that are obviously righteous, but some people cultivate them in the opposite direction. Xiaoqin was a little depressed. Why did they talk about him? Now that Su Chuxia's original intention had been achieved, she was ready to leave. However, to her surprise, Taoist Luli stood up and said to the crowd, "This kind man, I see that you have some knowledge about talisman drawing, so I want to discuss it with you. What do you think?" Discuss? Discuss my A*S? Are you suspecting me? Xiaoqin sneered in his heart. Just now he saw Mo Ri give Taoist Luli a look. Although he didn't know what it meant, he could roughly guess it. Mo Ri was probably telling Taoist Luli that he had quickly identified the two real talismans. Then, seeing that he had asked for talisman paper and cinnabar, he was curious and wanted to ask him to stay to find out what was going on. It's getting late. We still have to go back. The journey is long and we have to travel through the night. If we delay any longer, we won't be able to go back. Xiaoqin smiled and said, "Thank you, Perfected Luli, for your kindness. Isn't the good woman's home in Lan City? Why do we have to travel through the night?" Taoist Luli asked curiously. Xiaoqin turned to look at Su Chuxia in confusion. "I said it last year." Su Chuxia was a little embarrassed, but she said to Xiaoqin, "Xiaochang, since Perfected Luli has invited you, you can stay here." As she said that, Su Chuxia winked at Xiaoqin, implying that he should build a good relationship with Perfected Luli. Next time he could directly come in and there would be no need to challenge the barrier. "Okay, then I'll sit for a while." Xiaoqin said shamelessly, "I suddenly remembered that we drove here." "Yes." Perfected Luli smiled. "Amateus Buddha, the good man, please take a seat. Mo Ri, Mo Ji, bring the two good women to visit the Taoist temple." "Yes, master." Mo Ri and Mo Ji answered, then said to Su Chuxia and Tian Wangchuan, "Good people, please follow me." Su Chuxia pulled Tian Suruan along and left with Mo Ri and the rest. Xiaoqin, on the other hand, sat opposite Perfected Dearly. He didn't say a word, and neither did Xiaoqin. They sat leisurely and no one knew what they were thinking. "What's the good man's name?" Perfected Luli asked. "The name is just a title. It doesn't matter. You can call me the good man." Xiaoqin directly returned the words of Perfected Luli's disciple to Perfected Luli. Perfected Luli was stunned, but he could not refute it. He could only smile. The good man is right. I wonder what's the relationship between the good man and the two good women? Why don't you guess? Xiaoqin smiled. "I can't guess." Perfected Luli shook his head. "Then congratulations, you failed to pass the barrier." Xiaoqin said, "If you can't guess, you can't continue chatting with me." "Ah." Perfected Luli suddenly laughed. "You're mocking the rules of my Taoist temple, aren't you? Since you already know, why did you ask?" Xiaoqin smiled. "You're really shameless. Otherwise, my master is in seclusion all year round. The entire Taoist temple is basically run by me." Perfected Luli said, "Good man, you should have seen that the Tianqing temple is grand on the surface, but in fact, it is dilapidated and decayed on the inside. Many buildings need to be repaired, otherwise there will be danger. However, the incense money near the door is nothing at all. You're so magical. So many people are begging you to treat them. Why don't you charge more? 10,000 for each person at the door is enough for you to build another Taoist temple." Xiaoqin said. "If I really charge that much money, they might not come." Perfected Luli smiled. "My potions here are magical, but they aren't that valuable. If it's really that expensive, I'm afraid most people won't come. Only a few rich people will come. So, I've been running around to attract investments." "It seems that you're not stupid." Xiaoqin said, "All right, don't beat around the bush. Old Taoist, why are you looking for me?" "Good man, I think the relationship between you and the two good women is a bit strange. Between the two of them, who is your girlfriend? Or is it your goal?" asked Taoist Luli. "Why are you so gossipy? Why are you asking about these things?" Xiaoqin was a little puzzled. "Taoist priests can marry, unlike monks." Taoist Luli smiled. "So, it's not a bad idea to ask about it." "I'm not telling you." Xiaoqin said directly, "Is there anything else? If not, I'm leaving." "Good people also know our Taoist magic arts?" Do you have research on talisman making? Asked Taoist Lu Li. Obviously you don't want those talisman making things just to ward off evil spirits, right? Otherwise, wouldn't it be better for you to get some peachwood swords? Can we not beat around the bush? Say what you want to say. If there's nothing else, I'm leaving. I still have to pick up girls. Why are you dawdling? Are you playing with me? Are you just trying to get information out of me? Xiao Qin said somewhat impatiently. Haha, good people are really different. Taoist Lu Li said with a smile. Actually, it's nothing. I just want to ask good people, how much do you know about talisman drawing? I know a thing or two. Not much. I'm a beginner, said Xiao Qin. Taoist Lu Li nodded. Seeing that he couldn't get anything out of him, he gave up and said, in the future, if good people want to find me to study talisman making, you can contact me at any time. My cell phone number is 170x*x*x. Xiao Qin was a little speechless. Taoist priests also use cell phones? Monks also use panting. Taoist Lu Li smiled. Noted down. Is there anything else? Asked Xiao Qin. And if that good woman wants to go with you, you can also find me. I can open a back door for you, said Taoist Lu Li. Chapter 550. All right, if there's nothing else, I'll be leaving. Xiao Qin stood up and turned to leave. Take care, philanthropist. Spiritual Master Lu Li looked at Xiao Qin's back as he left. His eyes flashed with doubt. Where did this person come from? Su Chuxia didn't have such a person with her. If this person was Su Chuxia's pursuer, why would he accompany her here? Over the past few days, Spiritual Master Lu Li had studied Su Chuxia's information and realized that she wouldn't hang out with boys. Could he be Su Chuxia's protector? Thinking of this, Spiritual Master Lu Li felt that things were getting tricky. Xiao Qin was unfathomable. No matter what he asked, he wouldn't be able to answer. After going around in circles, he didn't get any useful information. After Xiao Qin went out, he saw Su Chuxia and Tian Shaoring wandering around nearby. He waved at them and the two of them came over. You're done? Let's go then. Sister Shaoring is starving. I don't have any energy left. Tian Shaoring walked over and said to Xiao Qin, Xiao Chang, carry me on your back. Sister Shaoring is hurting again. All right. Xiao Qin didn't refuse. However, this scene was seen by Spiritual Master Lu Li. He immediately felt relieved. It turned out that this kid was with Tian Shaoring. That made things easier. Looking at their intimate actions, they should be a couple. Since it had nothing to do with Su Chuxia, it didn't matter. It was fine as long as Xiao Chang didn't ruin their good plans. It was obvious that Xiao Chang had some understanding of Taoism. Xiao Qin carried Tian Shaoring and left Tianqing Monastery with Su Chuxia. They were about to go down the mountain when Spiritual Master Lu Li waved his hand. The disciple named Emoji immediately came forward. Master, do you have any instructions? Emoji asked. Follow these three secretly. It's best to find out what their relationship is, Spiritual Master Lu Li said. Yes, do I need to follow them and see where they live? Emoji nodded and asked. There's no need for that. I've already made preparations. You don't have to follow me. Don't expose yourself. Just take a look around the vicinity of Azure Mountain. Taoist dearly thought for a while and said, that person called Xiao Chang is not simple. I understand, Master. Don't worry. Emoji nodded and left quickly. It was already dinner time. The few of them hadn't eaten anything in the afternoon. They had rushed here in fear that they wouldn't make it in time. Now that they were done, Tian Sour was hungry. Chuxia, let's go get something to eat. Sister Sour is starving. Eat, eat, eat. All you know is to eat. Su Chuxia was in a hurry to go home and give the immortal water to Grandma. However, after hearing what Tian Suruan said, she was a little hungry. Xiao Chang, what do you think? Then let's eat before we leave. Xiao Qin looked at the time and said, an hour and a half won't make a difference. Besides, your grandma's leg doesn't have to be so troublesome. I know a little about medicine. When the time comes, I will go and take a look at her. Maybe it will be better than that Taoist Lu Li. Really? Su Chuxia was a little surprised. What do you think? As Xiao Qin said this, he suddenly frowned and turned around. He saw a figure flash by. That person was very vigilant and fast. In the blink of an eye, he disappeared. Xiao Qin didn't see him clearly. However, this situation shocked him. Could it be that someone wanted to harm Su Chuxia? However, their actions in Azure Mountain were random. Those who wanted to harm Su Chuxia definitely didn't know about it. When they came here, they drove all the way. Xiao Qin never felt anyone following them, so the possibility of someone following them was almost zero. Xiao Qin's sixth senses were still very sharp. Under his deliberate sensing, no one should be able to escape. Unless this person was very powerful. However, if that was the case, it would be completely useless for him to protect Su Chuxia. If that person came looking for trouble, he probably wouldn't be a match for them. Since he couldn't see anything wrong, Xiao Chen could only give up. Just as he was about to turn around, Su Chuxia said, "Xiao Chang, what are you looking at?" "Nothing. I'm looking around to see if there's a place to eat nearby." Xiao Chen said. "There is. Sister Saori, look just now. There's a Sky Azure house over there. It's probably related to Sky Azure Temple, right? It should be the food that the Taoists usually eat. Why don't we go there?" Tian Saori pointed not far away and said, "Sure." Xiao Chen didn't mind. Su Chuxia didn't say anything. The three of them walked in that direction. However, before they could take 2 steps, a group of people suddenly walked toward them. Su Chuxia and Tian Saori's faces suddenly changed, because they knew a few of the people in this group. It was the Baldy and his 2 underlings that they met in the parking lot in the Land Rover. "Hee kid, we meet again. What a coincidence." The Baldy looked at Xiao Chen and sneered sinisterly. The group of people behind him immediately came over and surrounded Xiao Chen and the other 2. "Yo, what do you want?" Tian Saori was a little afraid. However, she immediately remembered that Xiao Chen could take on a few people at school. These people shouldn't be a problem. Therefore, she regained her confidence. "Hey, Sister Saori, let me tell you. This is my boyfriend Xiao Chang. You can tell how strong he is just by hearing his name. You people are nothing to him. If you know what's good for you, hurry up and move aside. Otherwise, you'll be asking for trouble." Although Tian Saori said that, she didn't have much confidence because the number of people today was double that of the day in school. Moreover, these people looked like real gangsters at first glance. Although the people Kai Wuliang found were all martial artists, they didn't look as ferocious as these people. "Huh. So it's a cockroach that can't be killed? That's a good name. But girl, don't joke around. Do you think I'm afraid just because you said some harsh words?" The Baldy sneered and glared at her. "If he was so powerful, would you still need to say such harsh words here? Wouldn't you have made a move long ago? Let's not talk about these useless things. In short, my car is newly bought. If you give me 5 million, I'll forget about this. I'll sell my car to you. If you don't have it, then you'll have to think of a way to pay for my medical expenses." At this moment, before Xiao Chen and Tian Wangshu could say anything, a man wearing a golden chain behind the Baldy, who looked rather imposing, said indifferently, "Baldy, this is the lad? He even sent you flying with a kick? Did you not have breakfast this morning? Why are you forcing them? If you want them to pay, then just beat them up. When the time comes, won't they obediently hand over the money? What's the use of talking big?" "Boss, I was thinking that this is Heavenly Purity Monastery and it's not a good place to fight. If we offend those Taoists, it won't be fun. They're skilled," the Baldy said quickly. "If that's the case, kid, do you want to pay or die? Choose one." The man with the golden chain nodded and took out a cigarette. Then he glanced at Xiao Chen and said, "My patience is limited. If you don't want to pay, I can only send you to the hospital. Everyone listen up. If this kid doesn't make a choice in 3 minutes, then you guys will fight him at the back. Not here. Heavenly Purity Monastery still needs to be avoided. Brother Jean, don't worry. We definitely won't kill him." The Baldy smiled and responded quickly. However, Xiao Chen, who was standing on the side, was obviously a little impatient. "Isn't 3 minutes a little long? AI? Brother Jean," he said, 3 minutes is too long?" The Baldy was suddenly happy. He thought that Xiao Chen was going to give in. "Then you want to pay now? Pay your mother's balls? Are the few of you going on and on about it? If you want to fight, then hurry up. We still have to go eat." Xiao Chen waved his hand and said, "IF*CK. This kid is quite arrogant." Brother Jean was also annoyed after hearing it. He just sneered and blew out a smoke ring leisurely. Then he shouted, "Go beat him up. Don't kill him." "Wait." Xiao Chen looked at the few people who were about to rush up and suddenly shouted, "Ah, white kid, are you afraid? Are you going to give in?" Brother Jean was suddenly amused. This kid is really interesting. He pretended to be bad *SS before, but when it comes to a real fight, he can't. "Oh, you misunderstood. I usually have to pay an appearance fee when I fight. I don't fight for free. If you lose later, you have to pay me." Xiao Chen really wasn't talking nonsense. Whether it was underground boxing or racing, he got a lot of appearance fees. Brother Jean was stunned and then his face changed. He spat out the cigarette and scolded, "I changed my mind. Beat him to death." "Yes." The Baldy accepted the order and waved his hand. The few fellows behind him all charged at Xiao Chen and surrounded him. They did not distinguish between right and wrong and attacked immediately. Some kicked, some hit, some from the front, some from the side and some from the back. This group of hooligans were used to group fights and knew how to end the fight quickly. They understood the principle of killing a master with a flurry of punches. They directly attacked as a group and cooperated well with each other. They surrounded Xiao Chen from all directions, leaving no blind spots. In other words, no matter which direction Xiao Chen retreated to, it would be useless. He would still be attacked. Su Chuxiao and Tian Wangshuo screamed and hurriedly dodged to the side. However, Brother Jin did not let these people hit them. He only wanted to hit Xiao Chen, so no one cared about them. If they really didn't lose money later, then they would consider taking the two little girls away and play with them for a while before selling them to the nightclub to pay off the debt. These hooligans were very familiar with this kind of trick of bullying one person. They did it often. However, the person they encountered today was Xiao Chen. Forget about these hooligans, even those martial artists were useless. Xiao Chen casually set up an illusion and then went up to fight. These people originally wanted to hit Xiao Chen, but suddenly their vision blurred. Then, the bald leader felt his body become light and directly flew out. Chapter 551. It turned out that Xiao Chen directly reached out and grabbed his collar. He threw him into the sky and the guy directly turned into an astronaut and flew up. Therefore, in the eyes of outsiders, this place was covered in dust, and they couldn't see the situation inside clearly. However, there were people constantly flying up into the sky, as if they were launching rockets. The whooshing sounds were very interesting. These people kept taking off, landing and taking off and landing again. It was like jumping on a trampoline. It was very fun. This is so fun. Xiao Chang, is this a rocket launch? Tian Wangshuo shouted excitedly when he saw people constantly rising into the sky from the dust. Su Chuxiao was also a little speechless. How could this work? Previously, Su Chuxiao thought that Xiao Chen was very pretentious. She thought that he was deliberately showing off to attract her attention so that he could pursue her. However, after knowing that he was from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau, she got used to it. If he wasn't powerful, why would he be sent to protect her? This is so boring. When Xiao Chen saw that everyone was lying down, he put away the illusion. The dust gradually dissipated, and then, on the ground, there were small gangsters lying everywhere, including the bald guy and Brother Jin. Especially Brother Jin. He was originally dressed very coolly, but now he looked like he had just come out of a refugee camp. The gold chain around his neck was also broken and fell to the side. Xiao Chen casually picked up the gold chain and put it in his pocket. This is the appearance fee. But it seems a little. As he said that, Xiao Chen began to search Brother Jin and the bald guy. After searching for a long time, he found 2 wallets. When he opened them, other than bank cards, there was only a few thousand yuan in cash. Xiao Chen was so angry that he threw the wallets on their faces. Poor bastards. Brother Jin and the bald guy were very depressed, but they didn't dare to refute. They had experienced how powerful Xiao Chen was. He was simply not human. At this time they thought of a name, martial artist. Obviously Xiao Chen was a martial artist. Otherwise he wouldn't be so powerful. However, who would go out with a lot of cash? This was the era of card and code scanning. It was inconvenient to carry a lot of money. Let's go. Xiao Chen put away the money and said, "Don't. It's fun. Let's try it again." Tian Wangshuo saw that the rocket launch was very fun, and he still felt a little unsatisfied, so he quickly said, "One more time." Xiao Qin looked at Tian Suruan with a puzzled expression. What do you mean? Just now they soared into the air. It was quite interesting. It was like watching an acrobatic performance. It was really fun. Tian Sauer said, Can you perform it again? What's so fun about this? Xiao Qin suddenly had black lines on his head. Well, let's go eat. Don't worry about these guys. No. Tian Sauerso stomped his feet. You said before that you would listen to me, but now you don't want to listen? Sister Sauerso is so miserable. It was broken and someone doesn't want to take responsibility. Okay, then let's do it again. Xiao Qin walked over helplessly and grabbed the bald-headed man. Consider yourself unlucky. Don't. Brother. I was wrong. The bald-headed man was shocked. When he was thrown into the sky, although it felt great at that moment. People said that it felt good to be in the sky. That was what it meant. However, when he fell down it didn't feel good. His head fell down with a bang and he was confused. It was easy to get injured. It's useless to say anything. Go up. Xiao Qin swung his hand and with a swoosh, the bald-headed man flew up. Then Xiao Qin went to grab Brother Jean next to him. Although Brother Jean was depressed, he could only accept his fate. Who asked them to meet such a martial artist? They should be thankful that they weren't killed directly. It was nothing to be tortured. Fun. Tian Sauerso clapped her hands happily. Alright, Xiao Chang, can you not let them fall to the ground? It's like throwing balls in a circus. One by one, throw them up when they fall, okay? You're really troublesome. Xiao Qin was a little speechless. Do you think I'm a juggler? When Sister Sauerso is happy, it doesn't hurt anywhere. Tian Sauerso said. Okay, I'll try. Xiao Qin nodded. Then he picked up these punks one by one and threw them into the sky. Then before they could land he caught them and threw them up again. He was like an acrobat in a circus who kept throwing balls. All the punks didn't fall to the ground and flew around in the sky. Tian Sauerso was happy. Chusha, it's really fun. Sister Sauerso, I didn't expect Xiao Chang to be so powerful. Why don't you just agree to him? Where can you find such a powerful man? If you like it, I'll give it to you. Besides, didn't you get exposed by him? Just nice, you can rely on him. Su Chusha curled her lips. Although she was also very surprised and felt that Xiao Chen's ability was a little abnormal, when she thought about how he was a martial artist from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau, it wasn't a big deal. Of course, this was also because Su Chusha didn't have much contact with martial artists. Even a martial artist wouldn't be able to do this, let alone a martial artist. After all, each skill had its own specialization. This kind of juggling required a very high reaction speed. Xiao Chen's six senses were sharp, so he could naturally do it. However, how could an ordinary martial artist have this kind of coordination? It wasn't a problem to throw them all up, but it was much more difficult to keep them from falling to the ground. It's good, but I don't have money. Sister Sauerso is used to having money in the past. I can't live without money. Tian Sauerso shook his head and said. After playing for a while, Xiao Qin saw that it was about time. After all, there were many onlookers around. If he caused any unnecessary trouble, Xiao Qin didn't catch them again. Bang bang bang. With a series of chaotic sounds, these punks all fell to the ground and fainted. Tian Sauerso was a little unsatisfied. Xiao Chang, why didn't you continue? That's enough. There are so many people watching. Xiao Qin said, let's go and eat. But don't eat here. There are too many people here. Okay. Tian Sauerso noticed that there were many people watching them, so he nodded. Chusha, let's go. Su Chusha had wanted to leave a long time ago. Although the juggling performance by Xiao Qin was very fun, it made her a little uncomfortable to be watched by so many people. After hearing Tian Sauerso's words, she quickly turned around and left with them. A strong person like Xiao Qin naturally didn't dare to stop them. They all made way for them. The three of them went straight to the parking lot and quickly walked to the edge of the car. After getting in the car, Xiao Qin quickly drove the car out of the parking lot and down the mountain. The onlookers saw that there was no more fun to watch, so they all dispersed. No one cared about those punks. In the distance, Emoji was deep in thought. Then she quickly returned to Tianqing Temple and hurried to find Taoist Lu Li. Emoji, you're back? How was it? Taoist Lu Li asked. Master, that Xiao Chang isn't simple. Emoji said with a dignified expression. What happened? Tell me about it. Taoist Lu Li immediately became interested and asked. It's like this. When I secretly followed behind him and observed him, he seemed to have noticed it and suddenly turned around to look for me. Fortunately, I hid quickly. Otherwise, he would have discovered me. Emoji said. He could actually discover me? Taoist Lu Li was a little surprised. However, this doesn't mean anything. Some people's sixth sense is particularly sharp. Yes, if this isn't anything, I'm a little surprised by what happened next. Emoji said, the situation is like this. Emoji told him about how Xiao Chen met the Baldy and the others and how he tossed them around like a circus ball. Is that true? So, this Xiao Chang is a warrior? This time, Taoist Lu Li's expression was a little dignified. Then we have to pay attention to his appearance? Master, I can confirm that he is a warrior. Emoji said, otherwise he wouldn't have such great power. Moreover, there is a detail. He can set up illusions. This is something that only a demonic cultivator can do. A demonic cultivator can do it, but so can our Tianqing Taoist, Taoist Lu Li said. He is just a demonic cultivator. How can he be compared to the true disciples of our Tianqing Taoist? Emoji said disdainfully. Don't underestimate demonic cultivators and martial cultivators. They are also very powerful. Although our Tianqing Taoist is powerful, you haven't mastered it yet. Don't underestimate the enemy, Taoist Lu Li said. Yes, Master is right. Emoji quickly said in fear and trepidation. It seems that there is something wrong with this Xiao Chang. Kai Lehu didn't lie. This Xiao Chang is indeed a powerful warrior. He might really be from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. However, his relationship with Tian Shosho is a little strange. Could it be a cover-up? Taoist Lu Li muttered to himself, is it a coincidence or? Master, then now I. Emoji asked. It's fine. You can leave first. I will call you if there is anything. Taoist Lu Li waved his hand. Okay, Master. Disciple will leave. Emoji nodded and left. Taoist Lu Li pinched his chin thoughtfully. This matter was a little complicated. He didn't want to be the first to stand out, but if he didn't do anything he might be directly excluded by Kai Lehu. At that time he wouldn't get a single sensai. This Xiao Chang is really tight-lipped. I tried to probe for a long time, but I didn't get anything out of him. The two of them talked nonsense for a long time. What should I do? Taoist Lu Li also had a headache. The next step was to find out where Xiao Chang lived. From there, he could further guess the relationship between him and Su Chuxia. Chapter 552. Xiao Chen drove the car to the foot of the mountain. There were many restaurants at the foot of the mountain. Xiao Chen stopped the car and asked the two beauties, what do you want to eat? Chuxia, what about you? Tian Shaoring looked at the row of restaurants and drooled. Shaoring, don't look like you haven't eaten for a long time. People who don't know might think that you came back from a deserted island. Su Chuxia said, it's hard to imagine that you used to be a young lady of a noble family. No matter how noble I am, didn't I escape? Tian Shaoring said indifferently, besides, I left when I was young. It's been a few years now. My family has probably forgotten who I am. Xiao Chen was curious as he listened. This Tian Shaoring used to be a young lady of a noble family? It sounds like she was very rich, but I don't know why she escaped from her family. It's a bit strange. However, Xiao Chen didn't ask much. He was just a passerby in their lives. Even if he and Tian Shaoring had an accident, Tian Shaoring couldn't really blame him. Therefore, Xiao Chen didn't care too much. After this mission was over, he should leave. There is a Hong Kong-style restaurant over there. Why don't we eat there? It looks lighter. Su Chuxia looked at these restaurants and chose one. Tea restaurant. Tian Shaoring obviously didn't like it. I like to eat meat. There is also barbecued meat there. We can eat there later. Xiao Chen glanced at it and said, there aren't many people in this restaurant. Let's go there. Really, you still like Chuxia? Sister Shaoring has been poked and you still speak up for Chuxia. Tian Shaoring sighed. Hee hee. Xiao Chen smiled. Okay, I'll treat you, okay? You can eat whatever you want. That's more like it. Tian Shaoring got out of the car. The three of them walked into the Hong Kong-style restaurant and commented on the photos of the dishes on the display board. At this time, Xiao Chen felt someone coming from behind, but he didn't care. He thought it was a normal customer. However, this person patted him from behind and said, Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen's heart suddenly skipped a beat. He was slightly shocked, but he still turned his head calmly. He looked at the person blankly and said, who are you calling? However, when Xiao Chen saw the person, he was suddenly stunned. He actually knew this person. He was a good friend of his from junior high. His name was Wang Fantian. This name sounded very arrogant, but in reality he was the same as Xiao Chen. He came from a big family, but he couldn't cultivate. At that time he followed his parents to Songning City to start a business, so he went to school in Songning City for a period of time. He sat with Xiao Chen and became good friends. Wang Fengtian and Xiao Chen couldn't cultivate internal energy because they had the same weakness. Wang Fengtian was different from Xiao Chen. He couldn't cultivate internal energy after a serious illness. He could cultivate in the past, and he was already a martial artist at stage 2 of internal energy at a young age. However, after his illness he had no internal energy. No matter how much he cultivated, his strength increased, but without internal energy he couldn't level up. Speaking of which, he was slightly stronger than Xiao Chen. The two of them talked about everything. He also knew that Xiao Chen liked Xinjing Xian. Wang Fengtian also liked a girl. She was a gentle and quiet girl. Her appearance wasn't that outstanding, but she had an indescribable scholarly aura. After the girl graduated from junior high, she also transferred to another school. Xiao Chen didn't see her again. He didn't expect to meet Wang Fengtian in Lan City. During junior high, his appearance didn't change much. Therefore, Xiao Chen could recognize him at a glance. Xiao Chen wasn't surprised that Wang Fengtian recognized him. His voice now was Xiao Chen's original voice. Wang Fengtian was very familiar with him. From his back he should be able to recognize him. His voice and back, it wasn't surprising that Wang Fengtian was so determined to recognize him. However, although Xiao Chen was very excited, he couldn't recognize him. It wasn't because he was afraid that Wang Fengtian would report him to the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. With Xiao Chen's knowledge of people, Wang Fengtian was like Zhuing Xiong. It was because Xiao Chen was afraid that he would be exposed at this time and be seen by people with ulterior motives. Previously, Xiao Chen had a feeling that he was being followed. Although Baldi and the others appeared later, it was possible that Baldi was following them. However, Xiao Chen did not dare to be certain. Moreover, once his identity was exposed, he wouldn't be able to explain to Su Chuxia and Tian Suruan. Therefore he could only pretend to be confused. You're not Xiao Chen? Wang Fengtian looked at the stranger in front of him in confusion. From his back and voice, this person should be his good friend Xiao Chen. However, from his appearance they were completely different people. My surname is Xiao, but I'm not Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen said, did you get the wrong person? Your surname is Xiao too? Then do you know Xiao Chen? Are the two of you relatives? Wang Fengtian felt that Xiao Chang's back and voice were very similar to Xiao Chen's. The two of them might be relatives. I don't know him. Xiao Chen shook his head and said, I'm sorry, I really got the wrong person. Wang Fengtian smiled bitterly and said, I'm very sorry. It's okay. Xiao Chen turned around indifferently and entered the restaurant with Su Chuxia and Tian Suruan. Only Wang Fengtian was left looking at Xiao Chen's back with some confusion. Xiao Chen didn't expect to meet Wang Fengtian here. However, from his attire he should be doing quite well. This was a little strange. At that time he couldn't cultivate, so his family was marginalized and sent to Songning City to take care of the family business. Now, seeing Wang Fengtian get out of a Bugatti sports car dressed in branded clothes, this was a sign that the family valued him. Could it be that he was like him and could cultivate again? Xiao Chen was really happy for him. After all, they used to be brothers and they were in the same boat. Now everyone had a new future. The three of them asked for a small private room. Tian Suruan went to order the dishes, leaving only Xiao Chen and Su Chuxia in the private room. Su Chuxia suddenly asked, Xiao Chang, do you know that person just now? Why do you say that? Xiao Chen was stunned. That's not your original appearance, Su Chuxia said. Xiao Chen is a random name that you came up with when you were carrying out a mission, right? I saw that when you saw him just now, you were slightly stunned. I felt that you seemed to know him, but because you were carrying out a mission, you couldn't acknowledge him, right? You're thinking too much. Xiao Chen smiled and said, I do know someone called Xiao Chen. Then why did you say that you didn't know him just now? Su Chuxia asked curiously. That Xiao Chen is a wanted criminal in our Supernatural Investigation Bureau. If I said something like this, I might expose my identity. Usually it's not at that level and very few people pay attention to this. Xiao Chen explained, that's why I was stunned. I see. Su Chuxia nodded. She was just making a random guess. It wasn't that she suspected anything. After saying this, she poured herself a cup of tea and drank it. She and Xiao Chen didn't have much in common. Previously it was mostly Tian Suruan talking. Xiao Chen didn't know what to say and closed his eyes to rest. However, as soon as he closed his eyes, Xiao Chen had a feeling that he was being watched. It was as if someone was secretly observing him. When Xiao Chen opened his eyes, this feeling disappeared again. When he closed his eyes again, the feeling came again. When he opened his eyes again, it was gone. This made Xiao Chen feel a little strange. He was clearly in the private room. How could someone be following him? He stood up quietly and said to Su Chuxia, "I'll go out and take a look. Don't wander around here." Su Chuxia was slightly puzzled. However, seeing that Xiao Chen's expression was a little serious, she nodded. Although she said that she didn't want Xiao Chen's protection, after spending time together, she felt that Xiao Chen was a good person. At least he was much better than Xiao Meng. He was easy to talk to and they were the same age, so there wasn't much of a generation gap. Looking at Xiao Chen's expression, she guessed that something had happened. Therefore she cooperated and agreed. She wouldn't purposely disobey him. Xiao Chen got up and walked out of the private room. He saw Tian Suruan ordering food not far away. Over there Wang Fantian, who he saw before, was also ordering food. However, Wang Fantian didn't talk to Tian Suruan again. Instead he was ordering food by himself. After looking around, Xiao Chen didn't see any danger. This made him a little puzzled. There was clearly no one following him. Why did he feel like he was being watched? Looking at this restaurant, there were indeed some cameras. However, cameras were cameras. It was impossible for these things to feel like they were monitoring him. Here Xiao Chen closed his eyes. The feeling appeared again. Xiao Chen was about to go crazy. Just when Xiao Chen didn't know what to do, he heard the voice of the Elder Heaven Ancestor. "There's no need to look anymore. Xiao Chen, someone has placed a divine sense imprint on your body." Divine sense imprint? What is that? After listening, Xiao Chen's heart trembled. It didn't sound like anything good. It's an ability of cultivators. They can leave their divine sense imprint on others. Then, through this divine sense imprint, they can feel your location. It can even be used for monitoring and eavesdropping. The Elder Heaven Ancestor said. No way? Who is so powerful? Could it be that Taoist Luli? Xiao Chen suddenly thought of this person. He was afraid that only this person had this ability. Your divine sense imprint is the lowest level of divine sense imprint. It can only sense your location within a certain range, but it can't be used for monitoring and eavesdropping. The Elder Heaven Ancestor said. So, that Taoist Luli is also a cultivator? Xiao Chen was shocked. Chapter 553. That's not necessarily true. Some demonic cultivators can also do it. Moreover, those who refine voodoo and miaojiang can also do it, but the methods are similar. One is the demonic energy imprint, and the other is the voodoo imprint. Elder Heaven Ancestor said, in essence, the effects are similar. So, does Taoist Luli know that I am here now? Asked Xiao Chen. It should be like this. Elder Heaven Ancestor affirmed. Then how should I get rid of it? I can't let this thing always be on me. I think that Taoist Luli is not a good person. He always tries to get information from me. He must have some purpose. Xiao Chen was a little annoyed. It's very simple. This lowest level of spiritual awareness imprint is either on the clothes or on the surface of your body. On the clothes, you just need to take it off and throw it aside or burn it directly. Elder Heaven Ancestor explained, it's a bit difficult to get rid of it on the body. You have to soak it in water for 1 to 3 days or even longer. Or you can find the location and directly burn it with Samadhi True Fire. There should be a touch of dark blue color on the body, a very small dot. Xiao Chen frowned. He must get rid of Taoist Lu Li's spiritual awareness imprint as soon as possible. If this thing really followed him home, then Taoist Lu Li must know where he lived. It would be useless to get rid of it then. However, is it on the clothes or on the body? While Xiao Chen was thinking, Elder Heaven Ancestor continued, Taoist Lu Li did not have physical contact with you, and the talisman paper and cinnabar were also handed to you by the disciple without going through his hands. Therefore it should only be on your clothes, not on your body. That's good. Xiao Chen breathed a sigh of relief, took off his coat, returned to the box and threw it aside. Then he closed his eyes again. The feeling had disappeared. Sure enough. At this time, Xiao Chen became more and more certain that Taoist dearly wanted to know where he lived. When he got home, he might wash his clothes and the spiritual sense imprint would be washed away. Therefore, Taoist dearly did not care. Under normal circumstances, Xiao Chen would inevitably go home with his clothes on. It was impossible to throw them away halfway. What are you doing? Did you notice anything wrong? Su Chuxia asked. It's nothing. Xiao Chen said, let's leave as soon as we finish eating. Oh. Su Chuxia didn't ask anything else. The dishes were served rather quickly. After Tian Suru ordered, the dishes were served in no time. After the three of them finished eating, they paid the bill and left. Xiao Chen guessed that he had left his coat in the private room and did not take it with him. When the three of them left the restaurant, Su Chuxia noticed that Xiao Chen wasn't wearing a coat. She couldn't help but feel a little confused. "Huh? Where's your coat?" "Oh no," Xiaochen said. "You don't want it anymore?" Su Chusha was confused. "Nouveau riche." Tian Suru said in admiration. "By the way, are you really a low-key nouveau riche? Your car is so well modified. Are you actually very rich? Are you deliberately pretending to be poor?" "It's all right," Xiaochen replied casually. "Oh, then Sister Suru has decided not to find a boyfriend. You take care of Sister Suru. I will depend on you in the future," Tian Suru said. "Of course, no problem." Xiaochen agreed readily, but he sighed in his heart. After this mission, there probably wouldn't be many opportunities to see each other. After returning to Lan City, Xiaochen drove the car. Under Su Chusha's guidance, they came to an old-fashioned compound community. This should be the military compound that Su Chusha mentioned. The people who lived here were the workers and technicians of the military factory. Su Chusha's grandmother lived here. Although Su Chusha's father had been promoted to the person in charge of the research base and his salary had increased a lot, it was not a problem for him to buy a good house. Old people still like to live in old places. The three of them went upstairs together. Su Chusha's grandmother lived on the second floor. When Su Chusha opened the door, she saw a kind old lady sitting on the sofa watching TV. Another old man was playing with the flowers. When she saw Su Chusha enter, the old lady looked up. "Chusha Suru, you're here. There's a guest?" Obviously, Su Chusha and Tian Suru came often, but it was Xiaochen's first time. "This is..." Granny Su looked at Xiaochen in surprise. It was the first time that Su Chusha had brought a man over. It had never happened before. Tian Suru wanted to say something but was interrupted by Su Chusha. "Granny, this is Suru's boyfriend, Xiao Chang." "Oh, Suru's boyfriend." Granny Su laughed. "That's true. In the blink of an eye, Suru is a big girl. It's time for her to find a boyfriend. Chusha, you have to hurry. Granny wants to have a fourth generation in one lifetime." "Granny?" Su Chusha was a little embarrassed. Tian Suru wanted to refute, but when she thought about Su Chusha's shyness, she accepted it. Anyway, Xiaochen was her temporary boyfriend. "Granny, Chusha has a lot of suitors, but we're still in high school. The earliest we can get married is when we're in university. So I still have to wait a few years. I don't know if I can wait until then." Granny Su sighed. At this time, Grandpa Su put down the things in his hands and stood up. "Chusha, your granny and I are old. Our only wish is to see you start a family. Don't be so picky." "Grandpa, Su Chusha was a little depressed. Why was it always this topic? "Grandpa, Granny, you can live to a ripe old age. By the way, we just came back from Tianqing Temple. Here are 2 bottles of celestial water." "Chusha, it's been hard on you. You went to Tianqing Temple again. This is my old habit. Whenever winter comes, I rely on this," Granny Su said. "By the way, Xiao Chang, didn't you say that you have medical skills? Can you take a look at Granny?" Tian Suru suddenly remembered what Xiaochen said before. Seeing how good Xiaochen was, he might really have a way. "Okay, then I'll take a look." Xiaochen nodded. "Young man, you know medical skills?" Granny Su was a little surprised. "A little?" Xiaochen smiled. "Better than that liar Lu Li. Humph, don't brag. Who doesn't know how to brag?" Su Chusha glared at Xiaochen. "If you're so capable, make my granny stand up." "I'll try." As Xiaochen said this, he turned around and went downstairs. In the trunk of the car, there were some medicine dregs and other things that he brought from Songning City. Xiaochen didn't take them upstairs because he took the bus back on the first day. He left his car at school, so he didn't have time to take them. "Why did you turn around and leave?" Tian Suru was a little puzzled. "You don't have to do this even if you can't cure her, right?" "I'm going down to get something." Xiaochen smiled. "Oh, Chusha, I don't think Xiao Chang is someone who brags," Tian Suru said. "Let's see." Su Chusha actually felt that Xiaochen shouldn't brag because it was meaningless. He wasn't really pursuing her. He was just protecting her. Who was he bragging to? However, Xiaochen's words were too magical. He even said that he was better than Taoist Lu Li and could make his granny stand up. That was a little unbelievable. At this moment, Taoist Lu Li sneezed. It was a little strange. Could he still catch a cold? He quickly came to the foot of the mountain and entered the Hong Kong-style restaurant. At this moment he was dressed in secular clothes. No one recognized him. He was the famous Taoist Lu Li. When he entered a private room and saw a piece of clothing thrown in the corner, Taoist Lu Li was instantly furious. Wow, he actually saw through it? Impossible. How did he know that my divine sense imprint was on the clothes? Taoist Lu Li looked at the abandoned clothes and muttered to himself. Did he forget? But it was impossible for someone to forget his coat in the middle of winter, right? There was definitely something wrong with this Xiao Chang. Taoist Lu Li was 100% sure that this person was not simple. He was not an ordinary person. However, he didn't believe that Xiao Chang was from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. He felt that Xiao Qin seemed to have some relationship with Taoism. He was not a martial cultivator or a demonic cultivator. This was because his divine sense imprint could not be discovered even by a demonic cultivator. This was different from the demonic chi imprint. I wonder how Naishima Kikuo is doing. If this Xiao Chang is really powerful, Naishima Kikuo probably won't be able to find out anything. Indeed, at this moment, Ling Qianxue was kneeling in front of Naishima Kikuo and was reporting something. In that case, you can't be sure who this Xiao Chang is. Naishima Kikuo frowned. Yes, Lord Naishima, please punish me for my incompetence. Ling Qianxue said in fear and trepidation. This is not your fault. Naishima Kikuo waved his hand. Next time, follow this Xiao Chang and see where he lives. It's best to test his strength at night. Qianxue understands. Ling Qianxue immediately nodded. If you are not as strong as him, retreat immediately. Don't continue fighting. Naishima Kikuo said. The most important thing is not to let him discover your identity. Rest assured, Lord Naishima. Ling Qianxue replied. Xiao Qin returned upstairs with a bag of medicinal dregs in his hand. He said directly, I see that Grandpa Su's body isn't very good. You should have some cardiovascular disease, right? Yes, young man. You can also see my illness? Grandpa Su looked at Xiao Qin in surprise. He didn't expect Xiao Qin to be able to see his illness from afar. How brilliant was his medical skills? Xiao Qin actually couldn't see it either. It was the Elder Heaven Ancestor who told him. Xiao Qin, are you really trying to woo Su Chuxia? The Elder Heaven Ancestor asked with a smile. Didn't I make it in time? Besides, I have a good relationship with Su Chuxia, so I helped her out. There are medicinal dregs anyway, Xiao Qin said. I think you are laying the groundwork in advance, the Elder Heaven Ancestor said. You are thinking too much, Xiao Qin said. Su Chuxia was a little surprised this time. Xiao Qin could see Grandpa's problem with just one look. Chapter 554. Is there a clay pot here? Xiao Qin asked. Yes. Su Chuxia nodded. She went to the kitchen and found a clay pot. She was very familiar with the surroundings. You want to brew medicine? But where did you get it from? There aren't any pharmacies around here, right? Even if there are, they wouldn't be able to get it so quickly. Your celestial water is a lie. Mine is the real celestial medicine. Xiao Qin smiled. It can cure all illnesses. Grandpa Su and Grandma Su will be cured if they drink it together. Really? Su Chuxia didn't believe him. You trust that Taoist priest Lu Li's celestial water so much. Why are you suspecting my celestial medicine? Xiao Qin took the clay pot and skillfully added some medicinal dregs. He filled it with water and started brewing. How can that be the same? Su Chuxia lowered her voice. You're from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. I admit that you know a lot, but medicine, then just take a look. Xiao Qin smiled. Since you know who I am, you should know that I'm not a scammer. I wouldn't harm you. That's true. Su Chuxia nodded. After brewing the medicine, Xiao Qin calculated the time and chatted with Su Chuxia. That Taoist priest Lu Li isn't a good person. Try not to go to Tianqing Temple in the future. Now that I've cured your grandpa and grandma, you don't have to go anymore. Why? I go there every year to ask for medicine. I think Taoist priest Lu Li is very kind. He even gave us so many things this year. Su Chuxia was confused. Is there someone who wants to harm me? Yes. Xiao Qin nodded. I suspect that Taoist priest Lu Li is one of them. He kept trying to get information out of me and he even put a tracking device on my clothes. Xiao Qin didn't say spiritual imprint because Su Chuxia didn't understand it. He used a more common term. She would definitely understand a tracking device. A tracking device? Really? Su Chuxia was shocked. How could this be? So that's why you threw your coat away. Why else would I throw away my coat? Xiao Qin shrugged. I bought that coat with my own money. But if you lose it, won't Taoist Lu Li find out? Su Chuxia asked. He has suspected me for a long time. If he finds out, then so be it. Even if I burn it, he will still find out. If I go back home, he will know where I live. Xiao Qin said indifferently, I didn't expect these people to be so smart. My disguise is so good, but they still suspect me. It's all because of that little Meng. After he was exposed, anyone who appears around me will be the first to be suspected. Su Chuxia said helplessly, "You guys are so protective of me that it's starting to affect my life. Luckily you're easy to talk to." "That can't be helped. Your father is engaged in confidential research. Some people want to spy on the secrets, so they will come up with crooked ideas and attack you." Xiao Qin said, "I'll deal with them one by one after I figure out which group of people are after you." "Then what about after that? Won't I have to be protected by you for the rest of my life?" Su Chuxia asked gloomily. "That won't happen. These are all people who were hiding in Lan City before, so it's not easy to determine. As for those who came later, as long as they are suspicious people who entered Lan City from abroad, they will be immediately targeted by the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. It won't be a big problem," Xiao Qin said. "Oh." Su Chuxia nodded. "I'll go see Tian Suruan." Grandpa Su and Granny Su chatted with Tian Suruan. They were a little confused. Why was Xiao Chang talking to Su Chuxia in the kitchen, but Tian Suruan was talking to them? Whose boyfriend was he? Why was it a little messy? Seeing Su Chuxia come out, Tian Suruan said, "Chuxia, why were you gone for so long?" "Did you?" She was just about to say that she was interested in Xiao Chang, but on second thought, Su Chuxia's grandparents were still there. She quickly swallowed her words. "Did Xiao Chang boast and can't be cured?" "I don't think so. I saw that he was quite serious, so I asked about the details." Su Chuxia didn't say that someone was targeting her. She was afraid that her grandparents would worry. After a while, Xiao Qin also came out. He carried 2 bowls of medicine and placed them in front of Grandpa Su and Granny Su. "Elders, drink these 2 bowls of immortal medicine. I guarantee that your illness will be cured." "Oh? Ah, okay." Granny Su didn't doubt it. In her opinion, Tian Suruan's boyfriend wouldn't harm her. At most it wouldn't work, but she couldn't let him down. Grandpa Su thought the same, so the 2 of them drank the medicine without saying a word. "Elders, it's best for you to move your bodies and let the medicine digest as soon as possible. Just moving a little will do," Xiao Qin said. After all, their injuries were different from Grandpa Jin's. They weren't martial artists, so their injuries weren't very serious. They just needed to move a little to absorb the medicine. The 2 elders nodded. They listened to Xiao Qin and began to move. Granny Su's legs weren't working well, so she couldn't stand up. She could only twist her body back and forth on the sofa. Grandpa Su, on the other hand, walked around the living room. After a while, Grandpa Su reacted and quickly ran to the bathroom. Granny Su didn't move as much, but she didn't move as fast. After a while, Grandpa Su came out. This time, not long after, Granny Su also rushed from the sofa to the bathroom. "Hey Xiao Chang, did you give my grandparents laxatives? Why do they keep going to the bathroom?" Su Chuxia was a little suspicious. Could it be that Xiao Chen's medicine wasn't clean? "Yes, they're excreting some of the toxins in their bodies. But didn't you notice that your grandmother is already running like she's flying?" Xiao Chen laughed. Only then did Su Chuxia realize that Granny ran into the bathroom on her own. Previously, Granny didn't walk this fast. Even if she stood up, she would need someone to support her. Her rheumatism was very serious and it was almost like she was paralyzed. But now, Grandpa Su was stunned after hearing this. He remembered that Granny Su had indeed rushed into the bathroom on her own, and she was very fast. Was she really cured? However, Grandpa Su had experienced it himself. He felt refreshed and the discomfort from before was gone. Old people always had this and that problem, but now he felt like he was a lot younger. It was as if he had returned to the days when he worked in a factory. He was full of energy. Now he could go back to work without a problem. "Young man, your medical skills are really good. This is indeed an elixir." Grandpa Su stretched his body and felt very comfortable. He couldn't help but say from the bottom of his heart, "Souring, your boyfriend is too amazing. Is he from a medical family?" "Ah ha." Tian Souring laughed unnaturally. She didn't know where Xiao Qin came from, so she could only say casually, "He knows a little about everything." At this time, Granny Su also walked out of the bathroom. After taking 2 steps, she realized that she could walk again. She was instantly shocked, and her expression was exactly the same as Grandpa Su's. "My leg is cured?" At this moment, Su Chuxia couldn't help but admire Xiao Chang. She also deeply admired the Supernatural Investigation Bureau for being full of capable people. The team leader of Team C was indeed extraordinary. "Of course it's cured, so you can throw away that Taoist Lu Li's immortal water." Xiao Qin said, "I won't take away the rest of the herbs. You two can brew it again tomorrow. Half an hour, no more and no less." If you take it again, it won't be a problem for you to live to 100 years old. Really? Su Chuxia's eyes lit up, and she looked at Xiao Chen in surprise. It can even prolong one's life? Of course. After expelling the toxins from the body, one's entire body will return to its youthful state. It's not a problem for one to live to 100 years old, Xiao Chen said. Thank you. For the first time, Su Chuxia felt that having Xiao Chen by her side was quite good. Previously, that Xiao Chen didn't know anything and only knew how to cause trouble. Now that Xiao Chen was here, not only could he accompany her to get medicine, but he could also treat her illness. Now she didn't mind having Xiao Chen by her side at all. It's all right. With Saoring's relationship, there's no need to thank me, Xiao Chen said with a smile. Don't you have to thank me? Chuxia, you have to treat Sister Saoring to a feast. Tian Saoring quickly said. Okay. Su Chuxia didn't reject this time. You have to eat. You have to treat me. Grandpa Su quickly took out a stack of money from his pocket. There were more than 1,000 yuan, and he directly gave it to Su Chuxia. Then he said to Xiao Chen and Tian Saoring, Grandpa knows that this is not enough to pay for the medical expenses, but it's still enough to treat you to a meal. He also knew that if he gave money to Xiao Chen definitely wouldn't accept it. This was the only way to express his gratitude. Okay, then we'll eat Grandpa Su's meal. Xiao Chen didn't reject it. If he did, the old man might feel uneasy. The three of them chatted for a while and went back. It was getting late. Xiao Chang, why do you have medical skills? Tian Saoring asked curiously. Why do you seem to be omnipotent? Are you a student or not? I've read novels and movies. It said that some soldiers or secret agents return to the city and become students. On the one hand, they enjoy the school life, but on the other hand, they are actually secretly carrying out special missions. Are you the same? Cough, cough. After hearing Tian Saoring's words, Su Chuxia was shocked and immediately coughed. Chuxia, are you kidding? I was just randomly guessing. You don't have to have such a big reaction, right? It's just a joke and you're looking down on me? Tian Saoring obviously misunderstood Su Chuxia's meaning. I also know that it's very magical, but, Xiao Chang, how do you really know everything? What do I know? Xiao Chen smiled bitterly. You can cook, fight, have medical skills, race cars? What else can't you do? Tian Saoring said excitedly. Otherwise, you're a hidden psychic among the people, right? Not only do I watch TV, but I also read novels. Lin Yi from School Beauty's Bodyguard, and Yang Ming from So Pure, So Flirtatious. They are all masters hiding among the people. Are you one too? Chapter 555. Xiao Chen didn't know how to answer her. I think you can be the main character of a novel. Why don't I write a novel for you? Let's call it, Amazing Young Master Chang. Aren't you called Xiao Chang? Tian Saoring couldn't stop chattering. All right, Saoring. How can there be so many magical things? Xiao Chang is multi-talented. You're thinking too much, Su Chuxia interrupted her. You're right. Tian Saoring nodded. After driving back to the neighborhood before Xiao Chen got out of the car, he said to the two of them, If you're going out tomorrow, give me a call. But it's best if you don't go out. It's cold now. Oh. Su Chuxia replied. She didn't know why, but she listened to Xiao Chen a little. Was it because he cured Grandpa and Grandma's illness? Maybe it was. When they got home, Xiao Chen still used his binoculars to watch the two of them. Only when they got home did Xiao Chen relax. Just as he was about to take a shower and rest, he saw Su Chuxia walk to the window in the living room. She waved at him and then closed the curtains. Xiao Chen smiled bitterly. From the looks of it, Su Chuxia knew that he would definitely visit her, so she gave him a heads up to warn him not to look around. Night gradually fell. After taking a shower, Xiao Chen sat cross-legged on his bed to cultivate. Recently, he had been trying to break through to the peak of the 9th layer of qi refinement, but to no avail. Hong Zhu hadn't contacted him either. It seemed that the spiritual jades hadn't been found yet. This made Xiao Chen a little depressed. Granny Nanshan and Ling Er didn't seem like scammers either. Why didn't they give him spiritual jades? If he had known this would happen, he would have secretly asked for the spiritual jades after the ancient ruins expedition. Why did he wait for them to give it to him? Now they weren't coming and there was no news. It would be even more difficult for Xiao Chen to break through. Elder Heaven Ancestor, is my aptitude that bad? Why can't I break through without the help of spiritual medicine and spiritual jades? Xiao Chen was depressed. He was stuck at a bottleneck. There's nothing I can do about it. It's fine if you're in the deep mountains and forests, but in this city, The heaven and earth spiritual chi is already scarce. Do you think it's possible for you to level up and make a breakthrough? The elder heaven ancestor had a matter-of-fact look on his face. Actually, I feel that your aptitude is not bad. Your comprehension ability is very strong. In the cultivation world, if you have enough resources, it won't be a problem for you to rise. All right. However, Xiaoqin didn't become happy because of the elder heaven ancestor's praise, because he knew that he couldn't go to the cultivation world at all. Now that he was living in Lan City, no matter how good his aptitude was, it was useless without cultivation resources. That's right, can I use the divine sense imprint that Taoist Luli used today? For example, if I leave an imprint on Su Chuxia's body, I'll be able to know her location at any time, and I won't have to monitor her at all times. The divine sense imprint involves more things. Although I'm a cultivator, my knowledge of talisman crafting is limited. After all, there are specializations. In the cultivation world, there are talisman crafting masters, formation masters, alchemists, blacksmiths, and other professions. Those of us who pursue strength may dabble in these things, but we don't necessarily know all of them. This time, the elder heaven ancestor didn't pretend to understand. Instead, he told the truth. I feel that the heavenly pure monastery should be more proficient in crafting talismans, and the divine sense imprint is actually a variant of talisman crafting. The so-called talisman crafting is also using the divine sense to draw something on the talisman paper, and the divine sense imprint is actually drawn on your body. Then, you don't know? Xiaoqin was stunned. There was something that the elder heaven ancestor didn't know? I know some simple things about talisman crafting and I can also teach you to practice, but I really don't know how to use the divine sense imprint. The elder heaven ancestor said straightforwardly. If you want to learn, you can find that Taoist Luli. Damn, even if I find him, he has to teach me divination. Xiaoqin was a little speechless. Taoist Luli might be plotting something, so Xiaoqin wouldn't find him. Thinking of Taoist Luli, Xiaoqin was a little worried. He didn't know his specific strength, but Taoist Luli obviously had some ability. At least he was better than Xiaoqin in crafting talismans. It seemed that Xiaoqin had to be careful not to fail miserably in an easy task. It was night and it was very cold in Lan City in the middle of winter. Outside the window, snowflakes were falling. In a month it would be the Chinese New Year. He didn't know if he could go back to Songning and the Xiao family during the Chinese New Year. He didn't know if he could go back to Songning to the Xiao family to see his grandfather, second uncle, and Xiao Xiao, and then to see the eldest lady Jin Bebe, Tang Tang, Lu Shuangshuang, Zhuing Xiong, and Kerlin. He didn't know how they were doing. In the cold night, a black shadow quietly came to Xiaoqian's window. The black shadow was wearing a tight nocturnal suit. If it weren't for the moonlight, it would be hard to find her. Judging from her figure, it was a masked woman. With the tools in her hands, the woman broke the lock on the window quickly. She gently pushed the door open and entered the room. Xiaoqian's eyes, which were originally closed, suddenly narrowed to an imperceptible gap in the darkness. His sensitive sixth senses allowed him to sense the person who came. Who was it? Why did she come to my room? Could it be Taoist Luli? Impossible. I've lost my clothes. How did he find me? With the help of the moonlight, Xiaoqin saw a petite woman with a strong figure. She was quietly walking toward him, who was sitting on the bed with his legs crossed. She held a dagger in her hand, and it flickered with a ghastly cold light in the darkness like an icy cold venomous snake, ghastly and terrifying. You're here? Xiaoqin opened his eyes and suddenly said when the woman was approaching him. The woman was suddenly shocked. She found it strange that Xiaoqin was meditating. She was very puzzled. Did Xiaoqin believe in Buddhism or Taoism? Otherwise, why would he be meditating in the middle of the night? She just didn't expect Xiaoqin to be cultivating. After all, martial artists rarely sat still during cultivation. Even if he was a demonic cultivator, it was impossible for him to close his eyes and not move at all, right? However, the woman was obviously only stunned for a moment. She quickly adjusted her emotions. Xiaoqiang, you're actually not sleeping. You're sitting here. Did you know that I was coming and were waiting for me? The woman's voice was a little cold and hollow. It sounded a little scary in the night, like the voice of a ghost. I didn't know that you were coming and I don't know who you are. I just went to the Heavenly Clear Monastery today and learned a meditation method. Then you came. Are you a thief? Xiaoqin asked. It's not common to see a female Spider-Man. The woman was slightly stunned when she heard Xiaoqian's words. Did he think that she was a thief who could leap onto roofs and vault over walls? However, the woman only paused for a moment. She didn't stop at all. The dagger in her hand quickly stabbed towards Xiao Chen's chest without any warning. However, Xiao Chen had already sensed the woman's evil intentions. With a slight turn of his body, he avoided the woman's dagger. At this moment, Xiao Chen had a rough understanding of the woman's strength. Although she wasn't weak and had about the 8th to 9th level of inner strength, she was still not Xiao Chen's match in terms of strength. However, Xiao Chen didn't dare to be careless because this woman's moves were very strange. They didn't seem like normal martial arts. Her movements were very fast, like in martial arts novels, only speed could not be broken. If it wasn't for the fact that Xiao Chen was prepared and his 6 senses were sharp, it would be hard to say if he could have dodged this attack. You have some skills. Xiao Chen stood up but didn't attack. His moves were all killing moves. He wanted to leave her alive and ask her about her background. Humph. The dagger once again stabbed towards Xiao Chen. The direction of the movement was tricky and strange. An expert with a saber. Xiao Chen could only come up with this conclusion. Regardless of whether it was a martial cultivator or a demonic cultivator, they were not good at using weapons because weapons would restrict the display of their strength. Unless it was a divine weapon, it would hinder the eruption of inner strength and demonic qi. This was especially true for experts at the martial master level. It was better to not use it. Xiao Chen leaned back and dodged the attack. However, he was a little shocked in his heart. This person's speed was too fast. If he wasn't a cultivator, he might have already been hit. In this pitch-black environment, even a martial master of a higher rank might fail. Seeing that Xiao Chen dodged it, the woman was a little surprised. However, the dagger attacked again with a cold flash. The next moment it was close to Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen seized the opportunity and grabbed the dagger in the woman's hand. The woman was shocked. She didn't expect Xiao Chen to grab her dagger after dodging it. The woman was wearing night vision goggles so that she could see things in the dark. However, Xiao Chen was not wearing anything, yet he was able to make such accurate judgments in the dark. He even dared to snatch the dagger. This really shocked her. She quickly retracted her hand, but Xiao Chen continued to move forward. In the end, he grabbed the woman's chest. Ah! The woman was startled and her face turned red. She dodged backward, but she did not expect Xiao Chen to grab her. As she retreated, she felt pain from the pull. She could not help but curse, "Idiot! Shameless!" Xiao Chen actually didn't do it on purpose. He wanted to grab the dagger, but the woman's speed was so fast that she dodged directly. As a result, he grabbed the wrong position. Moreover, Xiao Chen didn't expect that the woman wasn't wearing a bra. It wasn't that the woman didn't wear it, but it was uncomfortable to wear a bra at night. Furthermore, it restricted her movements during a fight, so she wouldn't wear it. How could she know that Xiao Chen would grab her here? However, the woman's unintentional words made Xiao Chen slightly stunned. This woman is a Japanese? This made him suddenly think of a sect, and that was the ninja. Are you a ninja? Xiao Chen frowned and asked. He was a little puzzled. He thought that it was someone sent by Taoist Lu Li, but he didn't expect it to be a female ninja. However, he didn't have such a person among his enemies. Could it be that she was dealing with Su Chuxia? But how did she find him? The girl snorted coldly. She didn't want to continue fighting. She turned around and jumped out of the window. When Xiao Chen walked to the window, there was no one outside. The cold night wind blew into the window. If the window wasn't open, Xiao Chen would have thought that he was dreaming. Chapter 556. Xiao Chen looked at the room opposite him. It looked very safe and there was nothing wrong with it. He heaved a sigh of relief. This person knew him and knew that his name was Xiao Chang. It was a little strange that she had come here to deal with him. If she had the ability, why didn't she deal with Su Chuxia? Could it be that the person she wanted to deal with was actually him? Now that he was on guard, Xiao Chen paid close attention to Su Chuxia's movements for the rest of the night. In the middle of the night, he vaguely saw some light coming from inside. Perhaps someone had woken up to go to the toilet. After a while, the light disappeared. Nothing else happened even until dawn, which made Xiao Chen heave a sigh of relief. The woman quickly ran out of the neighborhood, got on a motorcycle and left quickly. Late at night, racers would appear from time to time. Therefore, there was nothing special about the woman riding the motorcycle in the dark. At the Sakura clubhouse, the woman stopped the motorcycle and quickly entered the clubhouse. The clubhouse was already closed. The woman was clearly not here to spend money, but rather, she was a resident here. After entering the clubhouse hall, the woman carefully locked the door again. However, she did not go upstairs. Instead, she turned around and walked to a screen in the lobby. Behind the screen was a fire hydrant. However, when the woman opened the hydrant there was a secret door inside. She carefully pushed the secret door open and walked into a long and narrow corridor. It was a completely different world. It looked like another place. Stopping in front of the last door, the woman knocked on it. Nishima Kikuo's unpleasant voice came from inside. "Chenshua, right? Come in." "Yes." The woman was the female ninja Ling Chenshua. She pushed the door open and knelt on the ground. In the room, Nishima Kikuo was reading a book. When he saw Ling Chenshua come in, he threw the book aside and stared at her calmly without saying anything. Ling Chenshua was very careful. If Nishima Kikuo did not say anything, she did not dare to speak casually. "Did you see Xiao Chang? How was it?" Nishima Kikuo closed his eyes and reached out to massage his facial muscles. He calmly asked Ling Chenshua, who was kneeling in front of him. "Master Nishima, Xiao Chang is a martial artist. Although I'm not sure of his level, he should be about the same as me." Ling Chenshua said carefully, "I waited in the neighborhood where Su Chuxia lived and saw Xiao Chang and Su Chuxia coming back together. Xiao Chang's room was opposite Su Chuxia's building. The two rooms faced each other." "Did he recognize you?" Nishima Kikuo asked. "Probably not." Ling Chenshua said, "But his strength is very high, I shouldn't be his opponent in front of him, and I also have the advantage in the dark. If it was in the daytime, I don't have the confidence to defeat him." "Or is he from the Supernatural Bureau?" Nishima Kikuo asked. "Most likely. Otherwise he wouldn't live in the same neighborhood as Su Chuxia and go out together," Ling Chenshua said. This is a little complicated." Yidao Kuroto nodded. "What's the possibility of him kidnapping Su Chuxia under his watch? If there are 2 or 3 ninjas with similar strength to mine, they should be able to restrain Xiao Chang. I suspect that he is a martial master," Ling Chenshua said. 2 or 3. Nishima Kikuo shook his head. "Not even 1 is possible. You don't have a criminal record in the past, so you haven't been targeted and recorded by the agents of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau here. Other ninjas with high strength have records with the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. Not to mention Lan City, you'll be targeted the moment you enter the country. Please punish me, Lord Yidao." Ling Chenshua lowered her head and said, "It's not your fault." Yukio Yashima waved his hand and said, "We can still gather people by smuggling them, but we can't do that in a short period of time. As for the research base, we must get our hands on the data as soon as possible. Looks like I can only cooperate with Lu Li and the others." "Yes." Ling Chenshua carefully nodded. "Then this subordinate, continue to monitor Xiao Chang. I will instruct you on your next move. I will go meet Kai Lehu and Taoist Lu Li tomorrow," Yashima Kikuo said. On Sunday, Su Chuxia obediently did not go out. Etienne Sourceau played video games at home. They had just bought a new game console and the two of them had a lot of fun playing. They only had food during the day, but in the evening Tian Sourceau wanted to eat something good. "Why don't we ask Xiao Chang to cook for us?" "That's not a good idea, right?" Su Chuxia hesitated. "What's wrong with that? Sister Sourceau will definitely listen. Watch me." Tian Sourceau picked up her phone and dialed Xiao Chen's number. "Hello, Sourceau?" Xiao Chen saw Tian Sourceau on the phone in the living room. He didn't expect it to be a call from Big Sister. "Xiao Chang, we're hungry. We want to have a feast tonight. Can you cook for us tonight?" Tian Sourceau said, "Once Sister Sourceau is full, she will forget some of the unhappy and sad past. She won't think about it anymore." No problem." Xiao Chen smiled. Even if Tian Sourceau didn't say anything else, he didn't think of rejecting her. After all, he was also very bored. The job of monitoring and protecting was not that easy. Xiao Chen went downstairs and drove to the nearby market. Dang dang dang, the sound of knocking came from the door of Su Chuxia's house. The two of them were playing games when Su Chuxia shouted, "Who is it?" "It's me, Xiao Chang," the person at the door said. Because the volume of the game on the TV was very loud, Su Chuxia and Tian Sourceau didn't hear it clearly. Su Chuxia said, "Sourceau, go and open the door." I'll die if I go." Tian Sourceau pointed at her character on the TV and said, "Chuxia, you go. I'm the host. If I die, we'll start over." Su Chuxia said. "Okay." Tian Sourceau ran over reluctantly. She didn't ask much and quickly opened the door. Just as she was about to come back to play, she felt something spray on her face. She immediately became dizzy and didn't know what happened. She fell to the ground with a plop. And the people who came in were Ling Chenshua, Taoist Lu Li, and Kai Lehu. During the day, Yasuo Yashima went to discuss with Kai Lehu and Taoist Lu Li. The three of them discussed that they had to quickly kidnap Su Chuxia and then threaten Su Chuxia's father, Professor Su, to make him hand over the research secrets. After all, the research in the research institute was almost at the end. Once the research was completed and the results were handed over, it would be completely useless to threaten them. Although Professor Su was the person in charge of the research institute, it was important to know that the results of a research were not the work of one or two people, but the overall effort of the whole team. Once the information was handed over, it would be deleted and backed up. No matter how good Professor Su's memory was, it was impossible for him to restore the results of the research. The only thing he could do was to explain the theory. However, the theory was useless to Kai Wuliang and Yasuo Yashima. They didn't have anyone capable of continuing the research. They got these things for commercial purposes, not for their own research. Unless the Sakura group returned to Japan and handed it over to their country, they wouldn't get any benefits. Therefore, after some discussion, they decided to forcefully take Su Chuxia away. Therefore, the three experts came together to fight against Xiao Chang. They didn't expect Xiao Chang to go out to buy groceries. It didn't take much effort at all. Ling Qianxue was a little regretful. If it was such a good opportunity, she could have done it alone. Master Yashima wouldn't have needed help at all. However, there was no other way. Who would have thought that the opportunity would come so quickly? Sour so you? Su Chuxia was just about to ask why he wasn't back yet. When she looked up, she saw three strangers in her house. Tian Sour so fell to the ground and didn't know what was going on. You are? Without saying a word, Ling Qianxue went up and sprayed her with a spray. How could a weak woman like Su Chuxia resist at all? She fainted immediately. Ling Qianxue didn't stop. She carried Su Chuxia and quickly walked out with Taoist Lu Li and Kai Lehu. Kai Lehu and Taoist Lu Li didn't expect things to go so smoothly, especially Taoist Lu Li. He was secretly happy. He didn't have to do anything. All he had to do was follow them and he would get a sum of money. This job was really good. However, he didn't think that way anymore. This was because when they were about to get into the car, Xiao Chen's car came back. From afar, Xiao Chen saw three people sneaking out of Su Chuxia's unit and walking toward a commercial car. Although Su Chuxia was carried by Ling Qianxue and he couldn't see her face clearly, Xiao Chen recognized Taoist Lu Li immediately. He took a closer look at the woman carrying the person. Wasn't this the ninja girl who ambushed him in the middle of the night? Xiao Chen immediately became alert. He looked at the clothes of the person the ninja girl was carrying. It must be Su Chuxia. Xiao Chen stepped on the accelerator. The car sped over and directly hit the front of the commercial car. There was a shortage of parking spaces in the neighborhood. There were cars on both sides of the commercial car. Since the front of the commercial car was hit by Xiao Chen's car, they naturally couldn't get out. The three people had already gotten into the commercial car and were ready to leave. However, the situation in front of them made it obvious that they couldn't leave. Kai Lehu, Taoist Lu Li, and Ling Qianxue could only throw Su Chuxia in the back seat of the car and get out. It really is you guys. Taoist Lu Li, we meet again. Xiao Chen looked at Taoist Lu Li coldly. Why don't you be a good Taoist? Why do you have to rob people? I don't know what you're thinking. Oh, Amit Ba, this humble Taoist is just a bystander. Watch this. After Taoist Lu Li finished speaking, he took out a horsetail whisk from somewhere and flung it at Xiao Chen. A strong wind blew, and Xiao Chen's expression was a little serious. Chapter 557. This Taoist Lu Li was actually a martial arts master. Although Yang Ming didn't know if he was a demonic cultivator or something, his strength was not weak. Motherf asterisk her, how can you be so despicable and shameless? Sneak attack? As Xiao Chen said this, he threw a fireball at Taoist Lu Li's crotch. What the F asterisk CK, who's sneak attacking who? Taoist Lu Li didn't expect that Xiao Chen could use martial arts while dodging. Of course, everyone regarded Xiao Chen's fireball as a martial arts skill. After all, demonic cultivators could use similar martial arts skills. Taoist Lu Li hurriedly dodged back, but the fireball still hit his crotch. His crotch was immediately caught on fire, causing him to jump all over the ground and keep slapping his crotch. However, how could the Samadhi true fire be extinguished with a casual slap? Taoist Lu Li thought that it could be easily extinguished, but it didn't. Not only did the fire not extinguish, but it also burned more and more vigorously. What the F asterisk CK is this? It's burning me to death. Taoist Lu Li had no choice but to lie on the ground and start rolling. Martial arts master? And a demonic cultivator? Kai Lehu glanced at Xiao Chen and said, "You are not from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. The Supernatural Investigation Bureau doesn't have a demonic cultivator like you. What's mysterious about it? What are you talking about? You guys kidnapped my girlfriend. Do you want to die? Xiao Qin snorted coldly. However, looking at the miserable appearance of Daoist Lu Li rolling on the ground, Ling Qianxue and Kai Lehu didn't dare to act rashly. The fire on Daoist Lu Li's body had not been extinguished yet. If he was provoked by Xiao Qian's big move, wouldn't he be as unlucky as Daoist Lu Li? Hurry up and deal with this kid. Otherwise someone will come later. Daoist Lu Li shouted as he rolled on the ground. He finally extinguished the fire on his body, and his crotch was also burned. He could only take off his shirt and wrap it around his crotch to cover his ugly appearance. You little b****, you burned my bird. Why do you need a bird? Xiao Qin smiled and said, anyway, I'm not getting married. Oh, I told you we are Taoists, not monks. We can get married. Daoist Lu Li said angrily. Oh, then you deserve your bad luck. Xiao Qin smiled. Let's go together and kill this kid. Daoist Lu Li waved his hand and rushed forward. Daoist Li, let Daoist Lu, said. Qianxue, let Daoist Lu shall be. Daoist Lu is Daoist Lu. He wasn't an idiot. He didn't dare to fight Xiao Qin head-on. If he couldn't defeat Xiao Qin and got burned like Taoist Lu Li, he would lose more than he gained. It was more important to kidnap Su Chuxia. Who cared if he could defeat Xiao Qin? So what if he didn't? Wait, don't move. Suddenly Xiao Qin shouted and a fireball appeared in his hand. He pointed at Kai Lehu and said, try and move. Do you believe that I will blow you up with a fireball on the fuel tank of my car? Ha! Kai Lehu was shocked and stopped. He didn't dare to move forward. Then you don't want the car anymore? How much is a Jetta? Are you stupid? Xiao Qin rolled his eyes at him as if he was stupid. That's true. Kai Lehu believed it and didn't dare to move. He could see that the kid in front of him was sinister and specialized in dirty tricks. Just now, Daoist Lu Li was almost burned to death by him. And you, ninja girl, if you dare to get in the car, do you believe that I will burn your clothes? Xiao Qin pointed at Ling Qianxue and said. Although Ling Qianxue was wearing a black scarf, she still couldn't help but blush secretly. Thinking about how Xiao Qin grabbed her there yesterday, she immediately cursed Xiao Qin for acting like a hooligan. What do you want? Kai Lehu asked. If you have something to say, let's talk it out. Brother, we don't have any bad intentions. You aren't from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau, right? No, what is that place? Xiao Qin asked. You really aren't? Kai Lehu rolled his eyes and asked. Really isn't? Xiao Qin shook his head. Then do you dare to swear it? Swear on your identity as a martial artist that if you are a member of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau, you will never be able to cultivate. Kai Lehu said. Are you sick? Xiao Qin pointed to the Jetta next to him and said, how can I swear? Do you want me to blow up the car again? If you blow up the car, we'll all get hurt. Kai Lehu said carefully. Then I'll blow you up. Xiao Qin threw a fireball at Kai Lehu. F***CK. Fortunately, Kai Lehu reacted quickly and pointed his finger at Xiao Qin. He jumped in fright and quickly dodged. He was almost burned. He was so angry that he shouted, everyone attack together now, he has no more fireballs. Why don't you try? Another fireball appeared in Xiao Qian's hand. Previously it was his right hand. This time it was his left hand. Obviously, when he threw the fireball in his right hand, he condensed another one in his left hand. Taoist Lu Li and Ling Qianxue were watching from the side, and Kai Lehu was in a dilemma. Young hero, you see, we can actually cooperate. We didn't want to hurt your girlfriend. Since you are not a member of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau, we can actually cooperate and make money together. You want to make a lot of money, right? I have a car. Will I be short of money? Are you stupid? Xiao Qin said, are you leaving or not? If not, I'll burn you. Kai Lehu was a little angry in his heart. The three of them could actually attack together and defeat Xiao Qin. However, Taoist Lu Li and Ling Qianxue obviously had their concerns. If the three of them were not united, there was really nothing they could do. Even if they attacked together, they would not be able to take down Xiao Qin if they did not use all their strength. If he went up and fought, he felt that he would not be a match for him. Xiao Qin was a fiend master and he was a martial master. He regretted not letting his son Kai Wujin come as well. This way both father and son were martial masters. It would be better, at least they could work together. Well, look at your car. It's just a Jetta? Kai Lehu continued. Say it again? Xiao Qin raised the fireball. Young hero, will meet again. See you next time. Kai Lehu turned around and ran. His heart was filled with resentment. F***CKU, Taoist Lu Li and Ling Qianxue, you're just going to watch, right? You're not going to make a move, right? Okay, really okay. Since that's the case, the situation is already over. What's the point of me talking nonsense here? I'll run first. Thinking of this, he directly ran away, abandoning the car. It's only the two of you left. Tell me what's going on. Why did you kidnap my girlfriend? Xiaoqin raised the fireball and asked, you also know that this fireball has to be thrown after a long time. Otherwise it'll burn your hands. Taoist Lu Li coughed twice. Oh, I'm really here to be a bystander. I just want to ask, is the talisman paper and immortal water I gave you yesterday enough? If it's not enough, I still have more. Well, I'll leave first. Stop. Xiaoqin said directly, the range of my fireball is a little far. Let me see if your running speed can exceed the speed of sound. 1, 2, 3, run, brother. Taoist Lu Li turned around. My legs are not good, I can't run fast. Oh, I don't know either. I'm here to help. Kai Lehu is the mastermind. If you don't believe me, you can ask this female ninja. Ling Qianxue nodded, indicating that what Taoist Lu Li said was right. She also had a headache with Xiaoqin. Fortunately, he didn't use the fireball last night. Otherwise, she would have been defeated. The one who ran is the mastermind? Really? Asked Xiaoqin. It's true. We're all here to help. I'm here for the money. Taoist Lu Li said, didn't I say it? I want to raise money to repair the Taoist temple. Oh, what about you, ninja girl? Ninja girl? Xiaoqin looked at Ling Qianxue. I don't know. My master sent me to help Kai Lehu, said Ling Qianxue. Forget it. You guys go. Xiaoqin waved his hand. If ordinary people saw him holding a fireball, they would definitely feel strange. It wouldn't be good if they attracted a crowd. These people were probably here for Su Chuxia's father. In fact, Xiaoqin didn't need to ask to know. Although Xiaoqin was holding a fireball, he also knew that this thing wasn't a big threat to Taoist Lu Li and Ling Qianxue, who were vigilant. It was no problem to scare them. If they really fought, they would be at a disadvantage. Su Chuxia was still in the car. If Kai Lehu returned and took the opportunity to steal Su Chuxia, he would be in trouble. Therefore Xiaoqin let the two of them leave. Oh, really? You can leave now? Then I'm leaving. If you have time, come to Tianqing Temple to play with me. Taoist Lu Li turned around and ran away. It was as if he was stepping on a flaming wheel. My master won't give up, said Ling Qianxue. Xiaoqin looked at Ling Qianxue strangely. Are you threatening me? Now that they are all gone, I can easily deal with you. Ninja girl, your figure is not bad. I like it the most. A warrior can be killed but not humiliated. Ling Qianxue stiffened her neck and said, I'm a ninja with the spirit of a warrior. I'm just telling you that I won't give up. If you want to kill me, do it. Oh, I won't kill you. I will, Xiaoqin looked at Ling Qianxue with a smile. If you come over, I will bite the poison and commit suicide. There's poison in my mouth. Ling Qianxue looked like she was facing death calmly. Forget it. Xiaoqin waved his hand. He couldn't communicate with this kind of strange female ninja. This person was not only not afraid of death but also afraid of humiliation. Before leaving, she still told him that she wouldn't give up. It was really incomprehensible. However, Xiaoqin had no intention of killing her. He waved his hand and let her go. She was just a brainwashed ninja girl. Xiaoqin wanted to deal with the people behind her, not her. After these people left, Xiaoqin walked to the business car and found that Su Chuxia was already awake. She was hugging her legs and curled up in the car seat. Her eyes were staring outside. You're awake. Xiaoqin walked over and was relieved to see that Su Chuxia was fine. Chapter 558. Yes, you scared them away? Su Chuxia was a little surprised. The three of them didn't look weak, but they were all scared away. I was just lucky. I scared them off. They won't be so lucky next time when they're prepared. Xiaoqin shook his head. This Taoist Lu Li's eyes were a little flickering just now, as if he knew that he used the true Samadhi fire of Taoism. Although Xiaoqin wasn't sure, it was hard to guarantee that he wouldn't come up with a countermeasure next time. It really is Taoist Lu Li. You're right. He's not a good person. Su Chuxia sighed. I didn't believe it before, but now, don't think so much. Let's go upstairs. Xiaoqin looked at the key on the driver's seat. Obviously, the three of them didn't have time to remove it. Xiaoqin casually removed the key and said, This car is not bad. I'll commandeer it. We'll drive it to school tomorrow. How can you just casually take other people's things? Su Chuxiao was amused. She was scared just now, but now she was amused by the relaxed atmosphere. The two of them got out of the car. Xiaochen took the ingredients out of the Jetta and locked the car. He didn't care about where the car was parked and walked to the entrance of the unit with Su Chuxiao. Anyway, these two cars were his anyway. Other than his MPV, it wouldn't affect anyone else. Just as he reached the entrance of the unit, he saw Tian Suruan rushing down the stairs. Clearly, Tian Suruan had woken up and realized that Su Chuxiao wasn't there. She rushed down the stairs to chase after her, only to see Xiaochen and Su Chuxiao face to face. Chuxiao, are you okay? Tian Suruan saw Su Chuxiao and was stunned. Then she hugged her happily. I'm okay. You stupid Suruan, why didn't you watch when you opened the door? I was almost taken away. Fortunately, Xiaochang arrived in time. Su Chuxiao still had lingering fears. Now she believed Xiaochen's words. She knew that he was following her for her own good. Even though she was being monitored by his binoculars, she didn't have any complaints. He was really doing it for her own good. As for himself, he even went to look for Taoist Luli to ask for medicine. That Taoist Luli was a big swindler and a bad guy. If Xiaochen hadn't seen through him and taken precautions against him, he might have been fooled. Fortunately, Xiaochen accompanied him yesterday. Otherwise, he might not have been able to leave the heavenly pure temple. Su Chuxiao shuddered at the thought. Sister Sour doesn't know either. I heard the person at the door say that it was Xiaochang. I was in a hurry to come back to play games, so I opened the door. Who knew that I would faint? Tian Sour said gloomily, it's good that you're fine. Otherwise, I would have been scared to death. It's fine. Let's go up. Su Chuxiao nodded. By the way, Chuxiao, why do these people want to catch you? I vaguely saw that Taoist Luli? Tian Sour asked curiously. I don't know either. Maybe they want to kidnap me to threaten my father. Su Chuxiao said, my father's research institute has some top-secret information. Maybe they want to use me as a threat to exchange for information from my father. At this time, Su Chuxiao couldn't hide it anymore. She could only tell him what happened. Anyway, Tian Sour should be able to guess a thing or two. If she continued to hide it, she might implicate Tian Sour. It can't be, right? Then these people are the so-called hostile forces? Commercial espionage? Tian Sour said in surprise. But that Taoist, why is he involved? What's the use of that information for him? It's not like he can eat it. Why do you only know how to eat it? Su Chuxiao glared at Tian Sour. Didn't you hear him say yesterday that he wanted to rebuild the temple? Maybe he was asked by someone to earn money? If that's the case, this Taoist is really wicked. Tian Sour said, then it's all thanks to Xiaochang? Alright, Xiaochang fought 3 people alone? I think I saw 3 of them? Yes, you know how powerful Xiaochang is. Not to mention 3, he can even fight 8 to 10, Su Chuxiao said. That's true. Tian Sour nodded. That's too scary. Chuxiao, they won't come again, right? Su Chuxiao wasn't sure. It's hard to say. Anyway, be careful. I'll keep an eye on you, Xiaochen said. Xiaochang, you're too good to us. Chuxiao, why don't you just agree to him? Where can you find a man who treats you so well and protects you like this? If it's Sister Sour, I'll agree. Tian Sour said. Then agree to it. Su Chuxiao shrugged. Although he's tall and handsome, he's not rich. He doesn't meet Sister Sour's requirements, Tian Sour said. I think he's quite rich. He has the ability to treat people. I think the two of you can work together to open a Taoist temple. Didn't the two of you discuss opening a Taoist temple yesterday? Su Chuxiao glanced at Tian Sour. That makes sense. Tian Sour nodded. It's just that he doesn't like me. He only likes you. Sister Sour can't do anything about it. How do you know he doesn't like you? Su Chuxiao asked. If he likes me, he would have exposed me yesterday. He would have taken advantage of the situation and really wanted to be my boyfriend. But he didn't, which means he doesn't like me anymore. Tian Sour said gloomily, Sister Sour still knows her place. Su Chuxiao was speechless. She looked at Xiaochen. Why don't we tell her the truth? Up to you. Xiaochen didn't care too much. Since those people had already made their move, his identity would be exposed sooner or later. So, it didn't matter whether he told Tian Sour or not. Hey, what are you two talking about? What truth? Tian Sour asked curiously. Don't tell me you two are already secretly together? Ahem. Sour, actually, your guess is right. Xiao Chang is actually one of those special agents who returned to school. He's a very powerful, special agent. Su Chuxia said. Is that true? Tian Sour was stunned. Her eyes widened in disbelief. Stop joking. How is that possible? Besides, how did you know Chuxia? Chuxia is right. I was ordered to protect Chuxia. Xiaoqin took over the topic and said, let's go upstairs and talk. Tian Sour looked at Xiao Chang in surprise. She didn't know if the two of them teamed up to trick her or if it was true. The three of them went upstairs and returned to the living room. Xiaoqin didn't waste any time and said directly, Sour, actually, I'm from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau to protect Su Chuxia. This is my ID. As Xiaoqin said this, he took out Yang Tan's ID and handed it to Tian Sour. It's true. Tian Sour looked at Xiaoqin's ID and was a little surprised. When she saw the photo and name inside, her reaction was similar to Su Chuxia's. Yang Jianan? What an ugly name. Also, why did you look like a gigolo before? It's really ugly. You look better now. Hee. Xiaoqin smiled. So, you don't have to matchmake me with Chuxia. She actually knows that I'm doing this for the mission. Me pursuing her is just an excuse. Me pursuing her and you is actually the same. There's no difference. I'm just creating an illusion in front of outsiders so that they think that I have a reason to be with you all day long. If that's the case, then why don't you pursue Sister Sour? Sister Sour will give you a chance to pursue her. Tian Sour said after listening. Su Chuxia snorted. Sour, what's wrong with your brain? It's all fake. What's the difference? It's not the same. Sigh, Sister Sour hasn't experienced what it's like to be pursued. Actually, Sister Sour wants to be in a relationship. It's the fake kind. I want to experience the feeling of being pursued. Tian Sour said. It's all fake. You still want to experience it? Su Chuxia was a little inexplicable. What kind of logic is this? It has to be fake. Tian Sour sighed. I don't know when I'll be taken back by my family, so I don't have much time to play. Aren't there a lot of people pursuing you in school? Su Chuxia asked curiously. Don't tell me you really like Xiao Chang? How is that possible? Tian Sour quickly shook his head. The people in school are all childish children. They're not interesting at all. I'm not interested in any of them. Besides, I already said that it's fake. If it's real, I don't dare to do it. If my family finds out that I'm in a relationship with someone else, I'll be hung up and beaten to death. Is it that serious? Su Chuxia was a little puzzled. What kind of family is that? I didn't see them looking for you. It's not time yet. Tian Sour said, it will come when the time comes. Forget it, let's not talk about this. Xiao Chang, what do you think of my suggestion? You can pursue me in front of outsiders. Otherwise, Chuxia won't be able to interact with you. Your family is too scary. I'm afraid that I'll accidentally harm you. Alright, I poked you yesterday. You won't be beaten to death when you go home, right? Xiaoqin suddenly thought of the main point of the matter. I lied to you yesterday. It wasn't poked at all. My period came. Tian Sour waved his hand. But it's true that it hurts a little. How can it be poked so easily? I say. Xiaoqin didn't quite believe it either, but the blood yesterday wasn't fake. He could only believe it for now. He was relieved when he heard it today. What about my suggestion? Tian Sour asked. Whatever. In any case, I'm fine with it. Furthermore, I don't think I'll have much time left. After this matter is over, I might have to leave. I can't keep carrying out the same mission. Xiaoqin nodded and explained, so, I might not be able to chase after them for long. Just a few days. I'm begging you. I just want to experience it for a while. I'll be done once I'm done, Tian Sour said. I really don't understand you, Sour. Can't you just let a random person in school pursue you for 2 days? Su Chuxia was a little puzzled. How can I do that? I have to respond to him. It's like playing a love game. I can't let him pursue me without getting anything in return. I have to slowly accept it. If it's someone from school, can I agree to go on a date with him? If I agree to go on a date with him, wouldn't I be playing a trick on him? Tian Sour said. Chapter 559. I see. Su Chuxia nodded and looked at Xiaoqin. Then I don't care. You decide. Anyway, Souri is a troublemaker. Alright, it's a reason to contact you guys. For the time being, Taoist Lu Li and Kai Lehu don't know my identity. I'll tease them first. Xiaoqin nodded. I'll go cook. However, Chuxia, you'd better contact your father and tell him what happened just now. I'll make the corresponding arrangements. And? Su Chuxia nodded. Xiao Chen went to the kitchen to cook. At the same time, he sent a message to Song Huawu to tell them about what happened just now. He asked them to pay close attention to Kai Lehu and Taoist Lu Li, as well as the islanders in Lan City. Kai Lehu? Xiao Chen suddenly thought of Kai Wuliang. Could the two of them be from the same family? Thinking about it, it was possible. It seemed like he had to be more vigilant in school. However, Tian Saori's request made Xiao Chen feel a little strange. She wanted him to pursue her? She just wanted to feel it? What was wrong with her? Also, her strange family. He had never heard of such a family. However, there were many things in the world that he didn't know. There were also many levels. Xiao Chen couldn't care so much. He could only take care of the things in front of him. In the Wave Club, Kai Lehu sat in the main seat with a depressed expression. He looked at Taoist Lu Li, Yukio Yashima and Ling Chenxue beside him and said, "I say, you guys are too weak. That Xiao Chang might not be that powerful. If we go together, we can definitely restrain him." Easy for you to say. Why don't you go? I'm already very kind. I was the first to attack, but his fireball is too powerful. It's not easy to extinguish it. I'm still having a headache. Taoist Lu Li snorted. Boss Kai, you have to compensate me for this loss. Compensation is not a problem, but today's mission has failed. It will be difficult to touch Su Chuxia again. Tell me, who is that Xiao Chang? Is he from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau? Kai Lehu asked in a deep voice. This kid is sinister and vicious. I don't think he's from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau and... Taoist Lu Li didn't continue. And what? Kai Lehu asked. Besides, didn't you say that there is no such person in the Supernatural Investigation Bureau? Taoist Lu Li said. That's true. Kai Lehu nodded. Mr. Yashima, your subordinate isn't very good. Did he stop after being scared by someone? We are working together now, so we should trust each other and not retreat. Mr. Kai, I've already asked. You were the one who didn't dare to approach the Jetta first, so Chenxue didn't get into the MPV. Who can you blame for this? Yorishima Kikuo said calmly. I guess so. Then let's talk about the next step of the plan. Kai Lehu waved his hand and didn't want to argue about this anymore. I think the breakthrough point should be Xiao Chang. If we can get Xiao Chang to help us, we can work together to kidnap Su Chuxia and threaten Professor Su. What do you guys think? That Xiao Chang is not easily bewitched, Ling Chenxue spoke at this moment. We have to give it a try no matter what. Taoist Lu Li rolled his eyes and said, I have met him once before and we are quite familiar with each other. Why don't I give it a try and see if I can convince him? That's a good idea. Kai Lehu nodded. It's mainly because Xiao Chang's fireball is too annoying. It would be great if it could be cracked. This little Taoist might have a way, said Taoist Lu Li. Oh? Kai Lehu's eyes lit up. Taoist Lu Li, do you have a way? I'm not sure, but I can discuss it with my master. Taoist Lu Li said, but, as he spoke, Taoist Lu Li made a money-counting gesture. Here you go. Kai Lehu was a little unhappy. This Taoist Lu Li was too greedy. He took out his checkbook, wrote a check for 1 million yuan, and handed it to Taoist Lu Li. Is that okay? Okay, but it's a little too little. Taoist Lu Li was a little regretful. It's only 1 million yuan. It's not enough to repair a door. If you can deal with Xiao Chang and get him to help us, I will give you 10 times the amount. Kai Lehu said, this is just an advance payment. That's more like it. Taoist Lu Li chuckled. As for Yashima Kikuo, he was not short of money at all. He and Kai Lehu were just working together to get what they needed. The few of them agreed that Taoist Lu Li would go to look for Xiao Chen, and the others would stay put for the time being. After these people left, Kai Wujin walked in. Dad, I heard that Xiao Chang is a martial arts master? Yes, don't provoke him. Kai Lehu nodded. You are not his match. If your brother and I go alone, we might not be his match either. His fireball technique is very impressive. Then Su Chuxia and I. Kai Wujin was a little depressed. Although he had a motive for pursuing Su Chuxia, she was indeed very beautiful and had the demeanor of a goddess. If she chased after him, he would be proud. If he brought her out, he would brag about it. However, the appearance of Xiao Chang messed up everything. Don't mess around. Before figuring out where Xiao Chang came from, it's best not to have any ideas about him. This guy is a little strange, Kai Lehu reminded. Yes, father. I understand. Kai Wujin nodded. Taoist Lu Li hurried back to Tianqing Monastery and immediately went to look for his master, Perfected Jiao Pian. Perfected Jiao Pian had just come out of seclusion. Perfected Jiao Pian had tacitly allowed Taoist Lu Li to participate in this matter. Otherwise, Taoist Lu Li would not have dared to act on his own. How was it? Did you succeed? Perfected Jiao Pian asked when he saw Taoist Lu Li return. No, don't mention it. Look at me. As he spoke, Taoist Lu Li took off the clothes around his waist, revealing his burnt crotch. Perfected Jiao Pian was shocked. Lu Li, what happened to you? Did you sit on a brazier? Hey, don't mention it. Master, I was burned with fire and I suspect that it was the true Samadhi fire. Taoist Lu Li said. What? It's our Taoist true Samadhi fire? Really? Perfected Jiao Pian was stunned and said, what happened? Tell me in detail. Yes. Taoist Lu Li nodded and told Perfected Jiao Pian in detail about what happened today. Perfected Jiao Pian suddenly fell into deep thought. According to what you said, this Xiao Chang knows talismans and asked you for talisman paper and cinnabar. He could even activate the true Samadhi fire today. Is he also a cultivator? I also have some doubts about this. Taoist Lu Li said, so, he is not easy to deal with. In that case, this Xiao Chang is not a member of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. It is impossible for the Supernatural Investigation Bureau to have a cultivator that we do not know. Perfected Jiao Pian nodded and said, however, it is not impossible to deal with the true Samadhi fire. It is not a problem to simply defend. Master has a way? Taoist Lu Li was immediately delighted. And it is just the true Samadhi fire. According to the strength you mentioned, you only need to buy a few fireproof suits from the fire brigade, Perfected Jiao Pian said. The fireproof suit can't defend against the true Samadhi fire, right? Taoist Lu Li thought for a while and said. Of course it can't defend against it normally. However, I just need to cast a spell on it and set up a fireproof array. If you are worried, you can also use a few fire-extinguishing talismans. Then it will be foolproof, Perfected Jiao Pian said. Oh, that's good. Now we can deal with Xiao Chang. I will go and talk to him first. If it doesn't work, we will use force, Taoist Lu Li said. And I will need a few days to set up the array here. You go and talk to Xiao Chang first. If it is okay, it is better to resolve it peacefully. Amit Ba. Perfected Jiao Pian nodded and said, but he seemed to be thinking about something. Xiao Chen cooked a table full of delicious food. Su Chuxia and Tian Saoring ate happily. At night, Xiao Chen reminded them not to open the door to strangers. If anything happened, they were to call him immediately. Then he prepared to leave. Xiao Chang. Xiao Chen walked to the door but was stopped by Tian Saoring. Don't forget. Start courting me tomorrow. Tian Saoring reminded him. Courting? All right, I won't forget. Xiao Chen smiled bitterly. He had done many courting others in the past, but that was when he was weak and pretended to be a playboy. At that time he would send flowers to Shen and do something romantic. Speaking of which, it had been a long time since he had courted a girl. He was not used to Tian Saoring's sudden request. Tian Saoring sent Xiao Chen off with satisfaction and closed the door. When she turned around, she saw Su Chuxia staring at her. She was shocked. Ah, Chuxia, what are you doing? Saoring, have you really fallen for Xiao Chang? Su Chuxia asked curiously. How is that possible? Tian Saoring blushed and said, Sister Saoring just wants to experience the feeling of being in love. That's it. Otherwise, if I get caught, I won't be able to experience it for the rest of my life. Alright, your family is really amazing. Su Chuxia didn't ask any more questions. From her point of view, since she knew that Xiao Chen was from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau, he would eventually leave. If Tian Saoring really wanted to date him, it would be a little silly. She knew that he was just a passerby in her life, so why would she want to date him? Su Chuxia shook her head and said, Go to bed early. After what happened today, I'm scared out of my wits. Xiao Chen woke up early. The next morning he had nothing to do, so he went to Su Chuxia's house. Since the door could be opened without a key, he casually opened it and went to the kitchen to get busy. There were still a lot of leftover ingredients from yesterday. Xiao Chen planned to make a breakfast of love for Tian Saoring. Although Tian Saoring's request was a little ridiculous and strange, Xiao Chen could see her desire, so he agreed. Chapter 560. Anyway, it was a piece of cake for him. He used to do it all the time and was very familiar with it now. He just went to a 5-star hotel to buy breakfast and cooked it himself. It wasn't that Xiao Chen didn't want to buy breakfast, but he was afraid that Taoist Lu Li and his gang would come again when he left. Then he would be caught off guard. Xiao Chen didn't enter the room to disturb them. Su Chuxia's room was a suite anyway, and there was a bathroom in the room. He wasn't afraid of anything awkward. He sat in the kitchen and quietly waited for Su Chuxia and the others to wake up. Xiao Chen suddenly had a feeling that he wouldn't be staying in Lan City for long. Perhaps, there would be a conclusion to this matter in the next few days. Su Chuxia woke up at 6 o'clock in the morning. After washing up, she pushed Tian Shaoring, who was still lazing in bed. "Hey Shaoring, wake up. It's time to go to school. Don't tell me you're also sleeping in at home?" Oh. Tian Shaoring rubbed his eyes. "There's an alarm clock at home. Don't I have you here? You're using me as an alarm clock." Su Chuxia was speechless. "Okay, hurry up and wash up. I'll make you breakfast." "Hey, your cooking isn't good. It's not as good as Xiao Chang's," Tian Shaoring said. "Call him then," Su Chuxia said angrily as she put on her clothes and walked out of the bedroom. "Okay." Tian Shaoring got up in a daze and slowly put on his clothes. Then he heard Su Chuxia scream from the living room. Ah. What happened to Chuxia? Those bad guys are here again? Don't be afraid, Sister Shaoring is here. With that said, Tian Suruan looked around, picked up a large flower pot in the bedroom and rushed out. In a daze he stumbled and fell. The flower pot flew out with a whoosh. Seeing that it was about to hit Su Chuxia's back, Xiao Chen jumped in fright. He wondered what Tian Soran was up to. Why did he have to be so clumsy and throw the flower pot away? He hurriedly reached out and pulled Su Chuxia into his arms. Then he caught the flower pot with one hand and held it in his hand. Bam! Tian Soran tumbled to the ground, feeling dizzy. Su Chuxia went to the kitchen to cook in her pajamas. She wasn't wearing a bra, so her body leaned softly against Xiao Chen's body. She blushed and quickly broke free. She ran over to Tian Suruan to check on him. "Suruan, are you okay?" In Xiao Chen's arms he could still smell Su Chuxia's fragrance. It smelled good, probably a mixture of shampoo and shampoo. That's not fair. Sister Sour almost fell to her death, but Chuxia is treated differently. "Xiao Chang, are you okay? Didn't you say that you would chase after Sister Sour? Why are you chasing after Chuxia now? You should have hugged Sister Sour first." Tian Soren got up and sat on the ground. He said gloomily, My priority is to protect Su Chuxia, so I instinctively went to protect her." Xiao Chen sweated. In fact, he was closer to Su Chuxia and it was fine for Tian Soran to fall. However, if Su Chuxia was hit by the flower pot, she probably wouldn't be able to get out of bed for a few days. Okay. Tian Soran heard that Xiao Chen's reason was reasonable, so she didn't dwell on it. Instead, she nodded and said, "Then, when you're not protecting Chuxia, you have to treat Sister Sour first." "Hee, didn't I wake up early in the morning and make you breakfast with love?" Xiao Chen smiled and said, "Yours is different from Chuxia's." Is that true?" When Tian Soran heard that there was breakfast, she forgot about the pain in her body. She got up and ran to the kitchen. Sure enough, she saw 2 fried eggs, but hers was heart-shaped and Su Chuxia's was ordinary. She was immediately happy. "It's really different." "That's great. It's just that Sister Sour is sick of eating fried eggs. You're so troublesome. It's good enough that you have food." Su Chuxia didn't mind. She ate the same thing every day, so she didn't mind. Tian Shaori remembered that Xiao Chen had specially made it, so she sat down and started eating. However, the moment she started eating, she almost cried. F***ck, Sister Shaori has lived for more than 10 years in vain. How can there be such a delicious fried egg? Su Chuxia looked at Tian Surin's tearful expression and was a little speechless. Sour, are you okay? Your words are so sour that I'm about to cry. You two don't have to be so lovey-dovey. What's so good about a fried egg? When I made it for you yesterday, you looked like you had eaten poison. Today it's delicious? It's really delicious." Tian Soren finished the fried egg in 2 or 3 bites. She was a little unsatisfied and started drinking the milk on the table. "Wow, this milk is delicious too." Su Chuxia was really speechless. "Soren, I give up." Sure enough, he was right. Girls in love are all silly girls. After saying that, Su Chuxia sat down and started eating the fried egg. After taking a bite, she was stunned. After taking another bite, she realized that Tian Soran wasn't lying. She wasn't deliberately showing off. It was really delicious. "How is it? Is it delicious?" Tian Soran looked at Su Chuxia proudly. "You won't scold me this time, right?" "Xiao Chang, what did you do? Why is your cooking so delicious?" Su Chuxia was a little puzzled. Even if you're from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau, you don't have to learn these things, right? If I told you that I used to sell breakfast, would you believe me? Xiaoqin smiled bitterly. Of course I would. When you guys are on a mission you can disguise as any profession. Su Chuxia nodded. Well, something like that. Alright, did you contact your father yesterday? What did he say? Xiaoqin asked. He didn't reply. Maybe he's doing research? Usually when I leave a message on QQ he only replies me after a few days, Su Chuxia said as if it was normal. Okay. Xiaoqin actually didn't expect Su Chuxia's father to be of much use. After all, he was just a researcher. It was good enough that he could take care of himself. After dinner, Tian Soren still wanted to continue. Xiao Chang, if only you were really my boyfriend. I realized that my mouth was bitten by the food. What should I do? If Sister Soren doesn't eat it in the future, I'll feel uncomfortable all over. I have to leave eventually. Plus, I already have a girlfriend. Xiaoqin smiled. Plus, aren't you going to be taken back by your family? That's true. Tian Soren nodded. I was just saying. Forget it, let's go to school. In the morning, at the entrance of the classroom, Xiaoqin gave Tian Soren a bouquet of flowers. Thus, the news of Xiao Chang courting Tian Soren spread throughout the school. Some students with bad intentions went to Dean Xiu to report Xiao Chang's puppy love. However, they were scolded by Dean Xiu. What? Are you jealous that he got first in the exam? If you can get first, you don't even have to go to school. Dean Xiu didn't like that student. His studies weren't good. He relied on his family's money to pass his days here. He didn't make any big mistakes. Don't think that he didn't know that this kid also liked Tian Soren. That student was a little dumbfounded. Plus he gave you flowers. That's a classmate friendship. It's a pure relationship between a man and a woman. Dean Xiu snorted. If there's nothing else, go back. Before you talk about others, get your own results first. Yes. That student left helplessly. Kai Wujin also heard the news. He was stunned. What? So Xiao Chang wasn't courting Su Chuxia but Tian Soren? What was the point of going against him? He thought that he was courting Su Chuxia. They were existences that could be friends. Thinking about it, it was normal for him to misunderstand. Xiao Chang was courting Tian Soren, so it was normal for him to be friendly with his bestie, Su Chuxia. However, his father told him to stay put for the time being. This made Kai Wujin feel very helpless. Someone took a photo of the flowers you gave me and sent it to the school's Weixin group. Go and take a look. Sister Soren is so happy. Tian Soren sent a text message to Xiaoqin. Xiaoqin was stunned. He didn't expect the school to have a Weixin group. Hence, he randomly registered an account and used Xiao Chang's name. He joined Tian Soren's Weixin and was invited into the group. As expected, everyone in the group was talking about the flowers that morning. What surprised everyone the most was that Tian Soren actually gave the flowers to her subordinate. If it was in the past, this would have been impossible. When others gave flowers to Tian Soren, she would put them in a vase in the class. As for Xiao Chen's flowers, she put them in her desk. It was obvious that she had tacitly agreed to Xiao Chen's pursuit of her. However, Xiao Chen just looked at it and didn't say anything. Hence, no one noticed that he had been added into the group. However, not long after, someone verified his identity and wanted to add him. Xiao Chen took a look and saw that it was someone called Wang Fantian. Could it be his junior high classmate, Wang Fantian? Xiao Chen hesitated for a moment, but he still verified this person. Xiao Chang, right? I'm the person you met at Azure Mountain that day. Do you still remember? I saw that you were with Su Chuxia and Tian Soren when you left, so I guess that you might be a student of this school. Why haven't I seen you before? Can we be friends? Let's have lunch together? After Wang Fantian verified his identity, he sent a bunch of messages over. Xiao Chen frowned. This Wang Fantian was obviously interested in him. Actually, 3 years was not a long time, but it was not a short time either. The two of them hadn't seen each other for 3 years, but Xiao Chen hadn't changed much since then. It was the same for Wang Fantian. In the 3rd year of junior high, the height and voice were basically fixed. Even if you were a little taller, your figure wouldn't change. It was understandable for Wang Fantian to be suspicious. Xiao Chen thought about it and replied, "Of course I remember. Let's meet at noon then." Xiao Chen thought that it was better to meet him. Otherwise, with Wang Fantian's personality, it would be even more troublesome if he got into a dead end. His personality was a little reckless and Xiao Chen was really afraid that he would reveal his identity. Chapter 561. After all, no one suspected that Yang Tan was dead. The current Yang Tan was actually Xiaoqin. However, if Wang Fantian leaked this information, the Supernatural Investigation Bureau would definitely launch an investigation. There were too many suspicious points about his identity that could not be investigated. Therefore Xiaoqin decided to meet him at noon. With Xiaoqin's understanding of Wang Fantian at that time, even if he knew about his situation he would not say it. Sometimes good brothers were for life. It did not matter how long they had known each other. At critical moments they could treat each other with sincerity. Zhu Yingxiong was such a person. They were all different from snobs like Qin Jinping. After making the decision, Xiaoqin sent a message to Tian Soran, telling them not to leave the school gate at noon and to eat in the school. He had something to do and could not accompany them. In the past, Su Chuxia would have been happy that Xiaoqin wasn't by her side. However, now that she knew his identity, especially after almost being kidnapped yesterday, she was a little scared. Naturally, she would listen to him and not cause any more trouble. Although Xiaoqin would not listen in class and play with his phone, all the teachers turned a blind eye to him. He was the top student in the school. Who knew if he was playing with his phone or using it to study? Xiaochang, are you playing with Weixin? Can you tell me your Weixin number? Ling Qianxue, who was at the side, asked Xiaoqin sweetly while the teacher turned around to write on the blackboard. Oh sure. I'm in the school's Weixin group. After you add me I'll add you. It's our school's group, Xiaoqin said and gave his Weixin number to Ling Qianxue. Okay. Ling Qianxue took out a pink phone and added Xiaoqin's Weixin number. After verifying it, Xiaoqin added her into the group. Ling Qianxue looked at it and asked, I heard, you're pursuing Tian Soran? Yes, that's right. Xiaoqin naturally would not deny it in front of outsiders. I see. It's so romantic. Ling Qianxue said with some envy, no one has ever sent flowers to Qianxue. I also hope to receive a large bouquet of roses. No way. You're so pretty, why didn't anyone give you flowers? Xiaoqin was a little surprised. I heard that the schools in Japan are even more open. It should be normal to have a relationship in school, right? Yes, but Qianxue is going to a women's college so there are no boys. Ling Qianxue explained. I see. Xiaoqin nodded. There was indeed such a school, so there was nothing he could do about it. If you stay in this school you'll probably be pursued soon. Now that you've just transferred here, everyone hasn't figured out your character yet. Ah, but I feel that it will be annoying again. Ling Qianxue sighed again. I don't want to be in a relationship yet. Xiaoqin was a little speechless. A girl's mind was really not easy to understand. One moment she was thinking, the next moment she wasn't. It was as if she was sour. If she wanted to date she had to pick someone. She even had to pretend to be him. How troublesome. Ling Qianxue continued to listen attentively while Xiaoqin continued to play with his phone. In the blink of an eye it was noon. 10 minutes before the end of class, Xiaoqin received another message from Wang Fantian. Xiaochang, I'll be waiting for you at the entrance of grade 12 class 9. See you later. Xiaoqin was stunned. How did he know that he was in grade 12 class 9? However, he immediately felt relieved. His identity had probably been discussed in the school's Weixin group chat. It was not impossible for Wang Fantian to know that he was in the same class as Tian Suru. After class, Su Chuxia and Tian Suru went to the school cafeteria for lunch. Meanwhile, Xiaoqin saw Wang Fantian at the entrance. Wang Fantian waved at Xiaoqin enthusiastically. Brother, over here. Wang Fantian was a very easygoing person. Perhaps it could be said that he was a little reckless, but he was a genuine person. From the way he greeted him, based on Xiaoqin's understanding of him, he could roughly tell that this person had no ill intentions towards him. He was different from Kai Wuliang and Taoist Lu Li. Why did you arrive first? Did you end class early? Xiaoqin asked. Yes, it was physical education. I left a little earlier. Wang Fantian smiled and nodded. Xiaochang, you're a new transfer student, right? I've never seen you before. Yes, I transferred from Songning. Xiaoqin nodded. That was what was written in his admission file. There was no need to hide it. Even if he did, Wang Fantian could easily find out later. If he knew that he was lying he would be even more suspicious. Hence he might as well tell the truth. Songning? Wang Fantian was slightly stunned. He smiled bitterly and said, to be honest, if it weren't for the fact that you look different from my good friend, from your voice and figure, I would have thought that you were my friend. Also, he's also from Songning. He's from Songning No. 1 Middle School. Is that so? I'm from Songning No. 2 Middle School. Xiaoqin smiled. That's not right. My friend transferred to Songning No. 2 Middle School. You've never seen him before? Wang Fantian was stunned. Xiaoqin was stunned too. This Wang Fantian looked like a fool. Was he being a little more meticulous than he seemed? Or was he just saying whatever came to his mind? Xiaoqin wasn't sure, so he said calmly, "I don't go to school much. Maybe I don't know." "Is that so? I heard that something happened to him a while ago. He killed someone from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau and ran away. I don't know where he went." Wang Fantian said casually, "You don't know about such a big thing? What's the Supernatural Investigation Bureau?" Xiaoqin asked back. "It's to protect Su Chuxia. A while ago that Xiao Mingzi was your ex." "He's from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau," Wang Fantian said. "Ex." Xiaoqin frowned. The two of them talked as they walked out of the school building. Unknowingly they walked to an empty place on the field. Wang Fantian stretched out his arm and strangled Xiaoqin's neck. Xiaoqin was stunned. He wanted to fight back, but he didn't expect Wang Fantian's strength to be so strong. He tried to break free but he couldn't. In a panic he could only use the strength of a level 9 Qi refinement stage to break free. He could tell that Wang Fantian was using a lot of strength. With such strength he was trying to kill him. Xiaoqin was shocked. This Wang Fantian obviously wasn't using inner force, but how could he be so strong? Previously, when Xiaoqin was in Songning No. 1 middle school, he knew that although Wang Fantian couldn't cultivate inner force, his strength was amazing. However, he didn't expect it to be this strong. This was simply asking for his life. Xiaoqin shouted subconsciously, "What are you doing? If you don't stop, I won't be polite." Since Xiaoqin couldn't break free, he could only condense a fireball to attack Wang Fantian. However, Wang Fantian was once his good friend. He didn't want to do that. "Stop shouting. Don't think that I don't know your identity." Wang Fantian sneered and said, "You are that Yang Tan, right? Tell me, where did you take my brother Xiaoqin? If you don't say it, do you believe that I will strangle you to death today?" And Xiaoqin was stunned after listening to Wang Fantian's words. Only then did he understand why Wang Fantian tested him with so many words. It turned out that this guy suspected that he was Yang Jianan. Thinking about it carefully, this Wang Fantian was really good at pretending. Although he looked as simple and honest as before, in fact he had become a lot more cunning. When he was waiting for him at the classroom door, he didn't show it at all. "Don't deny it. I have studied you for a long time. You are Yang Tan from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau, right?" Deliberately pretending not to know the Supernatural Investigation Bureau? Deliberately saying that you don't know Xiaoqin? Are you lying? You suddenly appeared beside Su Chuxia inexplicably, and it was after that Xiao Ming left. Do you think this is normal? At this point, Wang Fantian didn't give Xiaoqin a chance to explain at all. He continued, "Who is Su Chuxia? Would she let a guy follow her? Follow her to Tianqing Temple? Okay, now you can explain. I'll give you 3 minutes to think about it. Don't think that I won't kill you. I, Wang Fantian, will do what I say. You strangle me to death. You can't escape, right?" Xiaoqin smiled bitterly. He didn't expect Wang Fantian to be so fierce. However, he still couldn't understand it. Even if he was Yang Tan, he didn't have to do this, right? "What did you do to my brother?" "It's useless to say those things. Don't think that I don't dare to do it. I am a person who will go all out." Wang Fantian chuckled. "Don't get lucky. Think carefully before you speak. If it wasn't for my brother encouraging me to not give up and to keep working hard, I wouldn't be where I am today. So, if you want to lie to me, you will be crippled today." As he said this, Wang Fantian's arm tightened even more, making it hard for Xiaoqin to breathe. Looking at the ruthlessness in Wang Fantian's eyes, Xiaoqin didn't doubt that he would do what he said. "All right, Fantian, I surrender. I admit it. I am Xiaoqin, okay?" Xiaoqin was speechless and could only surrender. Huh. This time it was Wang Fantian's turn to be stunned. "What are you talking about? Don't bullshit. Aren't you Yang Tan Yang Jianan? F***ck, you dumb asterisk, hurry up and let go of your boss. I'm about to be strangled to death by you. Yang Tan was already killed by me. Where can I go?" Xiaoqin said angrily. Wang Fantian didn't let go. Instead, he frowned and looked at Xiaoqin in front of him. "Your strength is no weaker than a martial master now. Did you confess to Su Chuanxua? Didn't you say that you would look for her after you became a martial master?" Xiaoqin saw that he was still in a daze and couldn't help but be angry. What the f***ck? Wang Fantian finally believed it this time. "It's really you, Xiaoqin. I made a mistake. When I went back that day, I was wondering if it was you. But after thinking about it, I think you seem to be that Yang Tan. Nonsense, you almost strangled me. Why are you still so strong? You used to be like that. Don't you know that you have great strength? Xiao Chen glared at him angrily and said, in the past you pretended to be a hooligan. I looked for Shen Jingxian to be the hero and save the damsel in distress. In the end, I was almost killed by your punch. Chapter 562. Hee hee. Wang Badian scratched his head awkwardly. At this moment he seemed to have returned to the simple and honest Wang Badian. I heard that you got Goddess Shen? But she left. Xiao Chen sighed. I know. She went to the sect to cultivate. Wang Badian nodded. Then how did you get to Su Chuxia's side? How did you get here? Xiao Chen didn't hide it at this time. He told Wang Badian about killing Yang Tan, disguising himself as Yang Tan, and performing the Supernatural Investigation Bureau's mission. Emin, you look so cocky. I think you are going to blow up the sky. Wang Badian sighed. But it's good that you are fine. You scared me to death. Right, can you cultivate now? And what about you? Asked Xiao Chen. Mine can't be considered as cultivation. However, my strength is at the level of a martial master, even more powerful than a martial master. Wang Badian was also very puzzled. When I found out that I had great strength, you told me not to cultivate inner strength and directly cultivate physical strength. I followed your instructions and kept cultivating physical strength. As a result, I have great strength now. Then you have to thank me. Xiao Chen smiled. Yeah, otherwise how could I avenge you? Said Wang Badian. It's good that I know you are fine. Then I won't disturb your mission. When you have completely recovered your identity, we can get together again. Otherwise it will affect your mission now. It's fine in school. Generally, people don't choose to rush into the school and fight, said Xiao Chen. It's hard to say. Lu Li Taoist is a pure money grubber. He has money in his eyes. For money he can do anything for money, said Wang Badian. Kai Lehu is a bastard, the scum of the martial arts world. That Yi Dao Bo Fu is simply a hostile force. You understand it well. Right, your Wang family. Xiao Chen had never asked about the strength of the Wang family before and what they did. Now he could ask, you seem to be doing well? It's all right. Wang Badian said, the Wang family is a martial arts family. However, it is not in the secular world. It is in the real martial arts world. We have business in the secular world. I am now competing for the position of manager in the secular world. A manager in the secular world? Xiao Chen was surprised. He didn't expect Wang Exploding Heavens to be so outstanding that he could only compete for a manager position. That's right. The Wang family is very big. Being able to become a manager of the secular world is already not bad. Wang Explode Heaven laughed. The Wang family has martial masters in the secular world. I am just one of the competitors. Damn, then your Wang family is really big. No wonder you dared to kill Yang Tan, so you have a backer. Xiao Chen sighed. That's not it. Even if I have a background, the Wang family won't offend the Supernatural Investigation Bureau over such a small matter. They'll definitely hand me over. Wang Badian said, if the Wang family wants to do business in the secular world, we must follow the rules of the secular world. We can't offend the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. Then you still have to kill Yang Tan. Xiao Chen said. Isn't that because I want to ask where you are? Do you think I'm really stupid? I used to be a tiger, but I've grown up. I'm not that tiger anymore. I also have some wisdom. I'm just scaring you. Wang Explode Heaven said, just now I was pretending, right? Quite. You've lied to me twice today. Previously at the door of the classroom, I thought you weren't hostile to me. Just now I thought you were going to kill me. Xiao Chen couldn't help but sigh. Explode Heaven, you're really different from before. Aren't you the same? At that time, Xiao Chen, although there were some elements of pretending to be a dandy, you were really infatuated with Shen Jingxian. You did a lot of stupid things for her. Fortunately, you settled her, otherwise I would feel bad for you. Wang Explode Heaven said. Who hasn't been young and naive? Xiao Chen sighed, it's all in the past. We both have strength. Who is stronger between the two of us? Wang Explode Heaven suddenly asked. Nonsense, of course it's me, said Xiao Chen. That's not necessarily true. I didn't use my full strength just now, said Wang Explode Heaven. Me too. I didn't want to kill you at all. If it were someone else, I would have done it already, said Xiao Chen. Well, ha. Wang Explode Heaven laughed and said, but you killed Yang Tan. You're really good. Then I won't bother you. If there's anything you can look for me. I'm the best at things like fighting and helping out. Okay. Xiao Qin nodded and didn't say anything. Instead he went to the cafeteria. He wanted to see how Su Chuxia and Tian Sauer were doing. Wang Explode Heaven looked at Xiao Qian's back. There was a smile on his face. He turned and walked away quickly. Xiao Qin was in the cafeteria. He saw Su Chuxia and Tian Sauer from afar, so he bought 2 bottles of drinks and walked over. He appeared in front of Tian Sauer. Sauer, this is for you. And then that's great. Sister Sauer happened to be thirsty. Thank you. Tian Sauer happily took the drink and opened it to drink. What about me? Su Chuxia looked at Xiao Qian and asked. Well, this is for you. Xiao Qian gave his drink to Su Chuxia. Well, you are chasing after Sauer, so you forgot about me, right? Su Chuxia suddenly felt a little depressed. You don't have to be so obvious, right? I can't chase after 2 at the same time, right? Xiao Qian smiled bitterly, but if you are willing to be the second wife, I have no opinion. Go to hell. I don't want to. I want to be the big one. Su Chuxia glared at Xiao Qian and said, I'm Sauer's best friend. If you want to chase her, you have to please me. You are too fake. Cut. Repeat. Haha, okay Chuxia, this bottle of drink is for you. Help me say a few good words in front of Sauer. Xiao Qian smiled and handed the drink back to Su Chuxia, then said, That's more like it. Su Chuxia nodded and took the drink with satisfaction. Kai Wuyang looked at Xiao Qian from afar. He hesitated for a while and walked over with 2 bottles of drinks in his hand. He also saw that Xiao Qian gave the drinks to Su Chuxia, so he came over. Brother Xiao Chong, I heard that you were chasing after Sauer. Look at this matter. I thought you were chasing after Chuxia. Kai Wuyang said apologetically, I'm sorry about what happened before. I'm sorry. We can actually be very good friends. It doesn't seem to be possible. Yesterday your father wanted to kidnap Su Chuxia. He even went against me. Xiao Qian said. Kai Wuyang was stunned. You know that the person yesterday was my father? Nonsense, he looks like your counterfeit. I can tell at a glance. Xiao Qian curled his lips and said disdainfully, Do you have anything else? That's all. Kai Wuyang was a little helpless. Since yesterday's matter was exposed, Xiao Qian knew that Kai Lehu was his father. Then, it was useless to say anything. He could only stand up, turn around, and leave. I realized that Xiao Chong is quite amazing. In the past, Kai Wuyang was like a shameless pester. He wouldn't leave no matter what. Now, with just a few words from Xiao Chong, he left. Tian Xuan said in surprise. Xuan, will you die if you don't praise Xiao Qian? His father came to kidnap me yesterday. Even if his face is as big as the sun, he would be embarrassed to continue staying. It's good that I didn't call the police. Su Chuxia said. That's true. Tian Xuan nodded. It's really not good. Xiao Chong, where did you go just now? I saw that you seemed to be with the person I met at the Azure Mountain that day. He seems to be a student of our school too? And it's nothing. He just asked me something. Xiao Qian didn't expect Wang Keqian to be so low-key in school. He hadn't even heard of Tian Xuan. It seemed that Wang Keqian was usually quiet, but he knew how to endure. The 3 of them sat in the cafeteria for a while before going back to class. When they walked out of the cafeteria, Xiao Qian saw Ling Qianxue. She was a somewhat quiet and introverted girl. She seemed to be a bit of a loner. Or rather, she couldn't play with her new classmates. She walked out of the cafeteria alone without any friends to accompany her. Qianxue. Since they had bumped into each other, Xiao Qian greeted her. Xiao Chong. You're here to eat too. Ling Qianxue looked very happy when she saw Xiao Qian. However, when she saw Su Chuxia and Tian Xuan beside him, she couldn't help but hesitate. Will I disturb you? It's fine. Let's go back to the classroom together. Xiao Qian shook his head. This Ling Qianxue always gave Xiao Qian a strange feeling. He didn't know why. And Ling Qianxue followed beside him and didn't take the initiative to speak. Xiao Qian, Su Chuxia and Tian Xuan chatted while she just listened. When they returned to the classroom, Ling Qianxue started reading. Ling Qianxue, where do you live? Xiao Qian suddenly asked. I live. I don't know where it is. I have a GPS in my car. Why don't you go with me tonight? My father set it up. I just need to drive according to the GPS every day. Ling Qianxue said, It's a common destination. I see. Xiao Qian nodded. If it weren't for yesterday's incident, Xiao Qian wouldn't have any thoughts about Ling Qianxue. However, after yesterday's incident, especially the appearance of the female ninja, Xiao Chen had some doubts about Ling Qianxue. It wasn't necessarily that Ling Qianxue had something to do with it. It was just that the time she appeared was a bit coincidental. She came from Japan and coincidentally transferred to Lan City's New Moon Academy and sat next to him. Whether it was related or not, Xiao Chen himself wasn't too sure. "And do you want Qianxue to send you tonight?" Ling Qianxue asked. "I have a GPS, no need. I'm afraid that you will lose it. I still have to send you back." Xiao Chen shook his head and temporarily put down his doubts. In the afternoon, Xiao Chen's mobile phone Weixin suddenly reminded him that he had a new friend. Xiao Chen thought it was a classmate, but he didn't expect that when he opened it, it was actually a person named Scholar Lu Li. Xiao Chen was stunned. This can't be that Scholar Lu Li, right? Chapter 563. He clicked on his profile picture. Sure enough, it was Lu Li the idiot. However, he was wearing sunglasses and looked quite trendy. Xiao Chen was speechless. A Taoist uses a cell phone too? This is keeping up with the times. He wanted to reject it, but after some thought he agreed to add it. Then Taoist Lu Li greeted him. "Is this Xiao Chang? Why are you looking for your dad?" Xiao Chen replied. He had a bad impression of Lu Li, so he did not have a good temper. "Ah, don't be angry. I was just joking yesterday. In order to express my apology, I specially set up a banquet tonight and invited you to Tianqing residence." Taoist Lu Li sent an apologetic emoji. "Isn't that at Azure Mountain? Are you trying to lure me away? If you let me go, you can go kidnap Su Chuxia?" Xiao Chen asked. "That's not possible. Don't you know? Tianqing residence is a chain restaurant. There are a few in Lan City. There is one near New Moon College," Taoist Lu Li said. "Is that so? Then I won't go," Xiao Chen said. "It's free," Taoist Lu Li said. "Are you an idiot? Treating me to a meal requires money? I won't go even if I give you money." Xiao Chen replied directly, "Is there anything else? If there's nothing else, I'll blacklist you." "Wait a moment, benefactor." Taoist Lu Li sent 4 words. After a while, Taoist Lu Li sent a long voice message. "Xiao Chang, how about this? Why don't you take the afternoon off? Then we can have a meal nearby. Su Chuxia is still in school, so we can't do anything to her, right? We have to be careful of our influence. Is there anything?" Xiao Chen saw that Taoist Lu Li was not done, so he could not help but ask. "There's something?" Taoist Lu Li said, "But we have to talk face to face." "Okay." Xiao Chen thought about it and agreed. "Then you can come now. I haven't had lunch yet." "Okay, I'll be there soon," Taoist Lu Li said. "I'll send you a message when I get to your school gate." Xiao Chen did not believe in Taoist Dear Li's guarantee. Instead, he sent a message to Wang Fangtian, asking him to take care of Su Chuxia and Tian Suruan. Xiao Chen was well aware of Wang Fangtian's strength. This fellow was extremely strong. Even if the 3 people from yesterday came, he would be able to hold them off for a period of time. Of course, Wang Fangtian had no objections. He agreed without hesitation. He told Xiao Chen not to worry and asked for leave in the afternoon to wander around the entrance of Class 9. About 10 minutes later, Taoist Lu Li's message came. He said that he was at the door and told Xiao Chen to see him when he came out. How did this guy get here so fast? Chen, Xiao was the teacher. And didn't. The teacher Chen. The teacher. Li Lu. D. Lu, Lu. He, Lu Lu. The teacher did not care about Xiao Chen. His grades were there. As long as it did not affect his studies, he could do whatever he wanted. When Xiao Chen left the class, he saw Wang Fangtian. He was walking around. When he saw Xiao Chen, he greeted him. "Boss, don't worry. Leave this to me. If anyone dares to kidnap them, I'll kick him to death." "Well, it's best not to kick him to death in school. Just injure him," Xiao Chen said. I know." Wang Fangtian nodded. Xiao Chen left the teaching building and came to the school gate. He saw a cherry QQ parked at the school gate. Taoist Lu Li was standing on the side. This QQ car was very broken. The paint was peeling. It was obvious that it had been passed through many hands before it landed in Taoist Lu Li's hands. "How did you get such a broken car?" "AI, don't mention it. The Taoist temple is poor. This car was donated to me by a philanthropist. Don't look at this broken car. It's fuel efficient. There are no problems at all. It's just that it leaks a little in winter." Taoist Lu Li said. "Your windshield is broken. How can it not leak with transparent tape?" Xiao Chen was speechless. "Tianqing residence is opened by your Tianqing temple, right? You shouldn't be short of money, right? Why are you so stingy? Of course not. Our Taoist temple has been in disrepair for many years. Putting everything else aside, just a pavilion alone costs tens of thousands of yuan to repair. A small path also costs tens of thousands of yuan. In short, Xiao Chen interrupted Taoist Lu Li before he could finish. Why are you looking for me? Hurry up and say it. Xiao Chen waved his hand impatiently. Let's talk while we eat? Taoist Lu Li gestured for Xiao Chen to get into the car. Xiao Chen nodded and got into the car. Taoist Lu Li drove the car to the entrance of a restaurant that looked very high-end and imposing. This made Xiao Chen even more speechless. You did it on purpose, right? You drove a broken car to pick me up? Why is Tianqing residence so good? A philanthropist might not know this. This is a business place. If it's broken, there won't be any customers, right? And it's fine if I use it a little worse. Look at my phone. It's a gift for paying the phone bill. But you can still play with Weixing. As Taoist Lu Li spoke, he took out a gray mobile phone, which was obviously the cheapest kind of smartphone. Shaking his head, Xiao Chen and Taoist Lu Li walked into Tianqing residence and asked for a private room. Xiao Chen didn't save money for Taoist Lu Li. He ordered everything that was expensive. This meal cost at least a few thousand yuan. Is this enough? A philanthropist can order more. These are self-produced and sold. The cost isn't much. It's just a few hundred yuan. I can still afford it. Taoist Lu Li said with a smile. He seemed to see through Xiao Chen's plan. Then order more. I'll pack it. Xiao Chen wasn't polite at all. He ordered a lot of food and said to the waiter, pack these. Taoist Lu Li's mouth twitched twice. He was a little speechless. He was really talkative. If he knew it, he wouldn't have said it. But since he said it, he could only clench his teeth and say, it's fine. Eat as much as you want. Why don't I order tomorrow's lunch and send it to school? Said Xiao Chen. There's no delivery service here, said Taoist Lu Li. Then forget it. But Lu Li, let me tell you. Which restaurant doesn't deliver food now? Isn't there a delivery app? You have to do it too. Otherwise there won't be any business. Look at it now. There's almost no one here. That's why you don't deliver food, said Xiao Chen. You're right. Taoist Lu Li cursed in his heart. Damn. Xiaobai, what are you saying? It's past mealtime. Who would come to eat at 2 o'clock? Which restaurant would have people at this hour? Perhaps it was because there were no customers, or perhaps it was because Taoist Lu Li was the behind-the-scenes boss of this restaurant. The food was served after a short while. Because Xiao Chen was playing with his phone while waiting for the food, Taoist Lu Li didn't find a topic to talk about. He planned to talk while eating. Xiao Chen used Weixing to ask Wang Fantian if anyone had harmed Su Chuxia. He was relieved when he heard that they were safe and sound. The food is here. I won't stand on ceremony then. As Xiao Chen spoke, he put down his phone, picked up his chopsticks and started eating. Needless to say, the food in Shangqingwan was very health-conscious. It was all green food. Although the chef's skills were not as good as Xiao Chen's, the raw materials were excellent. It was really delicious. Xiao Chen was also hungry, so he kept eating. Taoist Lu Li wanted to interrupt and talk to him several times, but he couldn't. Finally, while Xiao Chen was drinking water, he said, Xiao Chang, you see, we can actually be friends. If we are friends, will you treat me to free food and drinks every day? Asked Xiao Chen. Taoist Lu Li was stunned. He didn't expect Xiao Chen's thoughts to jump so far. How did it become like this with just one sentence? He didn't know how to answer. Of course. Okay, I'll come here tomorrow to eat. Xiao Chen nodded. Then you see we are friends. Can we do something together? Said Taoist Lu Li. What is it? Asked Xiao Chen. That's right. Let's kidnap Su Chuxia together and blackmail her father. I heard that Su Chuxia isn't actually your girlfriend. You're chasing after Tian Soran, right? Taoist Lu Li said. You're trying to use a friend. If we aren't real friends, then I won't play with you. After Xiao Chen finished speaking, he continued eating. Taoist Lu Li didn't expect Xiao Chen to be so difficult to talk to. He could only say, think about it. I'm not asking you to hurt Su Chuxia. I'm just asking you to blackmail her father. After this is done, you can come here every day and eat for the rest of your life. To be honest, it's not very delicious. I'm sick of it after eating it once. Although Xiao Chen said so, he ate faster than anyone else. What about money? Do you like money? Taoist Lu Li continued to ask. I don't like it. Xiao Chen said directly. I said yesterday that I don't lack money. Then do you have anything you like? In other words, how can we cooperate? asked Taoist Lu Li. I can't do anything. You don't have to think about it, Xiaoqin said directly. Then why did you come? Taoist Lu Li was a little depressed. Didn't you force me to come? Besides, there's a fool treating me to food. It would be a waste if I don't eat. Xiaoqin said as he ate. You eat too. Taoist Lu Li glanced at the food on the table. It was all messed up by Xiaoqin. How could he eat? However, after hearing what Xiaoqin said, he was a little hungry. So, he called the waiter and ordered a bowl of assorted stir-fried noodles. After a while, the waiter came with the stir-fried noodles. However, Xiaoqin said directly, put it here. Then, under the waiter's astonishment, he took it directly and ate it. Taoist Lu Li was dumbfounded. After a long time he said, damn, I ordered that. Yes, didn't you order it for me because I didn't order the main course? Xiaoqin nodded and said in agreement. Taoist Lu Li was so angry that he gritted his teeth. Xiaoqin ate all the food, wiped his mouth, stood up and said to Taoist Lu Li, thank you for your hospitality. I'm leaving, bye-bye. By the way, waiter, where's my takeaway? Chapter 564. Here it is, sir. The waiter pointed to a pile of packed lunch boxes on the table outside. Oh, thank you. Xiaoqin picked it up and left. What the F***? I'm so angry. Taoist Lu Li looked at Xiaoqin's back and was enraged. He didn't explain anything during the meal and was angry. The most important thing was that the cost of Xiaoqin's meal was more than 1,000 yuan, and he lost it just like that. Mother f***. It's such a cold day. If I don't send you back, how are you going to go back? If you walk back, you will freeze to death. Taoist Lu Li thought evilly and deliberately didn't go out. Instead, he said to the waiter, make me an assorted fried rice. If you want to go back, wait for me to finish eating. Taoist Lu Li thought evilly and then planned to sneak a peek at Xiaoqin's miserable appearance. This was a side street. At this time there were no taxis passing by. Even if he used a car booking app, he would have to wait for a while. However, when Taoist Lu Li poked his head out, he was dumbfounded. He saw Yang Ming's car start and then drive forward. Taoist Lu Li was shocked and quickly chased after him. What the F***? You stole my car. I'll borrow it for a while. You can pick it up at the entrance of my school. Xiaoqin poked his head out and smiled. He then sped up and drove away. Yeah? That's not right. My car key is still in my pocket. How did this kid start it? Is there a loophole in my car? Taoist Lu Li had some doubts. In the end, he attributed it to Xiaoqin stealing the car. After Xiaoqin returned, school was about to end. He greeted Wang Fantian and signaled that he could leave. Xiaoqin walked into the classroom and went directly to Tian Suruan. Suruan, I know you like to eat, so I bought delicious food for you. Eat it tonight. Xiaoqin shook the food box in his hand. Xiaochang, you are so good to me. Tian Suruan was a little excited. Although she and Xiaoqin had agreed to pretend to pursue him, Xiaoqin actually went out of his way to buy delicious food for her. Tian Suruan was still a little touched. If he really wanted to pursue her, it would not be a big deal. The key was that it was fake. Xiaoqin was still like this. Tian Suruan felt that Xiaochang was really a good person. Ahem. Su Chuxia coughed. What did you say in the afternoon? I bought a lot. It's enough for the three of us to eat together, Xiaoqin said with a smile as he remembered Su Chuxia. Oh, that's more like it. Su Chuxia nodded. I thought you forgot about me again. The three of them returned home safely. Xiaoqin paid special attention to Ling Qinshue's car. It was a beetle with some flowers pasted on it. It was very cute. It reminded him of Jean Bebe. However, Su Chuxia and Tian Suruan, the best friend duo, were completely different from Cheng Menjing and Jean Bebe. Their personalities were different. Su Chuxia was a little like the combination of a rich young lady and Shen Jingxian. Although Tian Suruan was also a little crazy, she was not as funny as Jean Bebe. Instead, she was a little carefree and always called herself Sister Suruan. Taoist dearly walked to New Moon Academy with great difficulty and drove his QQ car away. He discovered that the anti-theft system was not damaged at all. He was a little puzzled as to how Xiaoqin drove it back. Could it be that he made a duplicate key? After getting in the car, Taoist Lu Li went straight to the Wave Club. Kai Lehu and Naishima Kikuo were already waiting there for his news. How is it? Taoist Lu Li, what did Xiaochang say? Did he agree to cooperate with us? Kai Lehu asked. Don't mention it. He's so stubborn. He even ate a meal from me. Tens of thousands are gone. Taoist Lu Li said gloomily. The money you gave me yesterday was used to treat him to a meal. Taoist Lu Li, do you have any good ideas? Kai Lehu knew Taoist Lu Li's nature of crying when he was poor, so he did not continue the conversation and asked directly. My master can make a fire-resistant suit that can break his fireball technique. We feel that we can wear the fire-resistant suit to fight him next time. Taoist Lu Li said. Then, shall we get the fire-resistant suit and kidnap Su Chuxia? Naishima Kikuo asked. Let me think about it. Kai Lehu waved his hand. There's no hurry. This time Su Chuxia must be prepared. Apart from this Xiao Chang who came out of nowhere, it will not be easy for us to succeed if the experts from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau are nearby. That's true. Taoist Lu Li nodded. Xiao Chang kept sending WeChat messages today. I took a few glances at the surveillance footage. He seemed to be asking someone about Su Chuxia's situation. Although I couldn't see it clearly, I feel that someone is secretly protecting Su Chuxia. That's right. Kai Lehu said. Then we have to be even more careful. That's right. Mr. Kai, please think of a safe way. Naishima Kikuo said. We don't have much time. If we can't get the information once it is handed over, it will be useless for us to do anything. Why don't we challenge Xiao Chang? According to the rules of the martial arts world, if he loses, we have to ask him to help us steal the information? Kai Wujin said. Forget it. Xiao Chang doesn't follow the rules of the martial arts world. If you ask him to come, it's the same thing whether he comes or not. Taoist Lu Li said. But kidnapping Su Chuxia is also risky. Kai Wujin said, I've thought about it carefully. It's wishful thinking that if we kidnap Su Chuxia's father, Professor Su, will listen to us and hand over the information. But have you ever thought about the people around him, including the people from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau? Will they allow him to do so? The three of them looked at each other. That's right. They hadn't considered this before. What if Professor Su didn't agree? In my opinion, this matter should be brought to the martial arts world. Kai Wujin smiled and said, Our identities are recorded in the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. Even if we were to mess around and kidnap Su Chuxia, it would be very difficult to get rid of the information. Our Kai family is doing business in Great Xia. Even if we use the invention patent on the research information, we probably won't be able to get through. The Supernatural Investigation Bureau will also cause trouble. Dad, have you ever thought about this? Don't blame me for saying this. The one who stands to gain the most from this is probably Mr. Yi Dao. But Mr. Yi Dao, do you really think you can smoothly bring the information out of the country after getting it? I'm not looking down on you, but your Sakura group is just an extreme organization. It's far from those real commercial spies. I think you'll be stopped before you can do anything. As for sending the information back from the public network, do you think the Supernatural Investigation Bureau's hackers won't intercept it? Kai Lehu's face sank when he heard Kai Wujin's words. He had thought that things would be easier after obtaining the information. However, his son who had seen the world was indeed different. After returning home, Kai Lehu felt that his plan was a little rash with just a few words. Yidao Yufu was also a little silent. He had to admit that Kai Wuyang's words made sense. He was indeed not a professional commercial spy. It was hard to say whether he could bring the information back. So I suggest that we follow the martial arts world's rules. Kai Wujin said, when the time comes, we will challenge Xiao Chang and the others according to the martial arts world's rules. When they lose, the Supernatural Investigation Bureau can't blame anyone else. The martial arts world's rules? It can't be. Will the Supernatural Investigation Bureau talk to us about the martial arts world's rules? Kai Lehu asked with a frown. It's not up to them. They don't want to talk about it, but the martial arts world is the martial arts world. These rules have been passed down for thousands of years. Even the Supernatural Investigation Bureau can't take the initiative to break these rules. The martial arts world is not their martial arts world, but the martial arts world of all the martial arts experts. Kai Wujin said, Father, why is your vision still limited to the secular world? You are a martial arts master after all. Why are you still so cautious? Kai Wujin came back from a sect, so his vision was very high. He was a real martial arts person, and his sect was also a real martial arts sect. That was why he was so confident. Then Wujin, what do you mean? Kai Lehu asked. Father, I think we should settle this matter quickly. Since it's not good to make a move on Su Chuxia, let's make a move on Professor Su's parents. I heard that the two old people usually live in the military factory compound, and there is no one to protect them. Let's invite the two of them as guests. Then send a martial arts challenge to Xiao Chang. According to the martial arts world's rules, he needs to come and fight. Then we can make a deal. If we win, he has to take out the research information as a bet. If he wins, then we will let them go. Kai Wujin said. What if Xiao Qin doesn't come? Taoist Lu Li knew Xiao Chang's character very well. Doesn't come? Very good. Then Professor Su's parents will continue to live here. They're old people. If they die of old age, they can't blame us, right? Kai Wujin chuckled. That's not very good. Can the Supernatural Investigation Bureau just sit back and do nothing? Taoist Lu Li was a little worried. We are doing everything according to the rules of the martial arts world. The people of the martial arts world naturally have their own way of doing things. The Supernatural Investigation Bureau only cares about the secular world. They can't control us. Kai Wujin said, moreover, they don't dare to do anything and they can't do anything. Don't they know that we want to deal with Su Chuxia? They know, but why don't they do it? Because they also have scruples. It's okay for the Supernatural Investigation Bureau to oppress those small families. Even the real martial families have to give them some face. But the Kai family has me, Kai Wujin. What are you afraid of? Asked the Supernatural Investigation Bureau's Northeast Deputy Director, Xia Zhili. Would he dare to touch me? Try and touch me? That's right. I agree with Wujin. What about you guys? Kai Lehu nodded. Yes, the Kai family didn't compete now. If they did, even the Shin family wouldn't be a match for them. All these years, the Kai family had been doing shady business. They just didn't want to compete for fame. Otherwise, they would have long been the #1 family in Lan City. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.